And we are live. How's everybody doing tonight? My name is Anthony Brian Logan, and you're watching and/or listening to ABL Live. Yes, I am on time. Matter of fact, I'm 1 minute early. How about that? But thank y'all for being here. You could be almost anywhere in the world, but you're right here with me live on the show, and I appreciate y'all for that. Thank y'all for being here. We got a whole lot to talk about tonight, of course. We got to talk about the Florida doctor, alleged doctor walkout. What's going on with that? Oh, they're so busy, they're so overwhelmed, yet they had time to say just walkout. The amount of people that were trying to defend these doctors was really crazy. We'll talk about that in a minute, of course. Also, the continued Afghanistan fallout. Now they didn't say the red line. They say, hey, you know what? You said August 31st, that's what it's going to be. So if you have any Americans that are still there and they can't get out by then, oh well. If you want to still be doing evacuations and things of that nature after August 31st, then you're in for a surprise. Also, what's going on with Australia? A lot of you guys have spoken about Australia. A lot of you guys have called in from Australia. What's going on there? What is really happening? We'll talk about Australia, of course, in this particular podcast. Also, the FDA has, quote unquote, approved the Pfizer vaccines. We'll talk about all those things and more on tonight's episode of ABL Live. And shout out to you guys for being here. You guys are the best audience anywhere on the internet, and I couldn't do it without you. Thank y'all for joining. I really, really appreciate you guys. If you enjoyed what you've heard so far, if you enjoyed the content in general, go ahead and give the video a thumbs up. Also, like the video, share the video, do all that good stuff. This particular podcast will be available on your favorite audio streaming platform, whether that be Google Play, Spotify, Stitcher, Anchor, Apple iTunes, etc. A link for that will be in the description box. You can also just go to your favorite audio streaming platform and search for ABL Live. I should pop right on up. Also, shout out to all my sponsors, of course. Shout out to me, AnthonyBLogan.com. That is ANTHONY, the letter B, LOGAN.com. All my videos have sources on there with an original article written by me. I write the articles after each video and I source it. So nobody can say, oh, that's fake news, ABL, you're spreading misinformation. Never, 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 never. I always have sources from all over the place, from mainstream media, on the left, right, center, alternative media, local news, national news, international news, wherever. And one of my best sources is another one of my sponsors, patriotpost.us. They are an excellent source of news and information. Check them out every day, patriotpost.us. A lot of my stuff is on there, and a lot of other good guys and girls that got that stuff on there. They've been around for a long time, patriotpost.us. Also, shout out to ablmerch.com. You get all the latest hats, t-shirts, stickers, hoodies, and more. And I'm designing a bunch of new merch as we speak. Not right now, obviously, as I'm on the stream with you guys, but I got a bunch of new designs in the tuck. And I'm going to try to update the store more often. So be on the lookout for new merch coming at you immediately on ablmerch.com. Also, go to Mr1920.com. That is Mr. MISTER 1920.com for some excellent handmade American soaps. Don't go to the gas station, the Target or whatever to get your soaps. Get some real excellent American soaps that clean you up real good. Mr1920.com. Also, go to bhedesigns.com for these beautiful handmade wooden flags that are right behind me. All right. So shout out to all my sponsors. Shout out to you guys for watching. But we got a whole lot going on tonight. And where do I begin? I guess my first topic would be, let's talk about the Afghanistan red line. I'm going to talk about that first, and then I'm going to get into the other topics later. If you guys have anything to talk about, we'll get to it, and we'll get to super chats and all that kind of good stuff later. So thank y'all for just hanging out for right now. But the whole Afghanistan red line thing is crazy because this all could have been prevented. This is really crazy. One thing I don't like is how when you're watching the news, that's all they want to cover is Afghanistan. I feel like there are more news stories happening, right? There are many more news stories. Staffing issues at schools. Matter of fact, before I get into Afghanistan, let's talk about this. Out here where I live in Tennessee, I'm in Hamilton County, right? It's like Chattanooga area. Right next to us is Cleveland, Tennessee. That's in Bradley County. Now, the entire city of Cleveland shut down for the rest of the week for this Thursday and Friday because of a lack of staffing. The entire city school system shut down Thursday and Friday. Oh, they can't fill certain positions. Matter of fact, let me see if I can find the Twitter post that I had earlier, and I'll place that on the screen before you so we know it's not just me making it up. Matter of fact, here it is. Okay, let's try to get this on the screen ASAP and do it that way. All right, perfect. This is Cleveland, Tennessee, which is right down the way from Chattanooga. Not Cleveland, Ohio, Cleveland, Tennessee. So here it is. Due to the inability to adequately staff some of our classrooms, cafeterias, and other vital positions, Cleveland City Schools will be closed Thursday, August 26th and Friday, August 27th. The entire school system. So people talking about masks, no masks, or whatever, but it's like, can you even get people to go to the classrooms? Can you even staff your schools? Not just at one particular school, which would be bad enough. Like, let's just say it was one high school that had a lack of staffing. That's bad enough. But the whole city, no staffing. And I mean, now when you see things like that, ask yourself this. When they talk about all these ICUs that are filled up and there's no more beds available because all the people got the virus and they want to, keep the beds occupied. We'll talk about that a little bit later. Ask yourself this. Is it because there are not enough beds due to virus patients occupying them, or is it because of a lack of staffing? Okay, because I was looking at one thing about Harris County in Texas, which is like Houston, if I'm not mistaken. And they were talking about, oh, well, we're being overwhelmed. We don't have the ICU space. Then it became, well, we don't have enough ICU staff. So now we got to try to pay people from out of state to come to Texas to staff the hospitals. You see what I'm saying? There's a lack of staffing. Now, why is there a lack of staffing? Why can you not fill these jobs? Why was it this whole Spirit Airlines kerfuffle, allegedly? It's because you got all this free money floating out there. The stimulus money is still floating out there. I think some states still have the federal unemployment insurance. Now, I think that's done in Tennessee as far as federal unemployment, but there's still plenty of stimulus money. And then they're talking about doing another stimulus check. What's the point in working? What's the purpose in working when you're able to get more or the equivalent for being at home and doing nothing? Tell me the purpose of what's the point in actually working and honest living? If you're a dishonest person, especially, you might as well just stay home and just collect money that way, right? That's kind of what's going on. So the entire city, we live in Polk County. Shout out to Polk County. All right. Yeah, but that's the issue is the unemployment benefits, the stimulus checks, the earned income tax credit, all that kind of good stuff, right? It's to the point where restaurants I don't go to unless it's a family joint or a higher end spot. I know if I go to Applebee's or something like that, it's not going to be staffed properly. There was a TikTok from Chattanooga again. There was a TikTok of a guy going into what was that? A Waffle House or IHOP somewhere. Don't get me the line in telling you which one, but one of those spots like that, Waffle House or IHOP. I think it was IHOP. But the guy was in there pretty much just walking around because everybody had quit in the middle of the day. Because it's not their restaurant, they're hourly workers. They don't really have, they don't really have the incentive to work there. But if it's a family joint, then this is what they own. They own it together. They're all in it as one. Especially like the Asian spots, they're going to be in there. You want some Chinese food, or they're going to be there, and they're going to be just like normal. They're not going to just take off and quit in the middle of the day because it's their spot. They own it. So if it's a family joint, I'm in there. If it's a high-paid spot, I'm in there. And the bad part about that is if you're just a regular normie and you don't have a whole lot of money to be able to spend on going out, your going out experience is going to be limited. If what you can afford right now might be young, or just you might not necessarily be a rich person. If what you can afford is going to Applebee's, which I got no problem with, you might not really want that, because who's going to be there? Is it going to be any service? They might mess around and be closed. I saw that Panera Bread out close to where I live, they close at 4:00 p.m. because of staffing. And so if they're closing early like that, the question is, how well is it going to be run when it's open? Probably not very well. So all these, unemployment benefits and things of that nature is just not good. It's just going to cause a bunch of jobs to just be open. And they're talking about, we got to have a higher minimum wage. These jobs are paying a nice little bit of money. I saw somewhere where they were giving away free iPhones to start work at McDonald's. Now, granted, it may not necessarily be the newest iPhone 18 or whatever the newest one is. It may not be that, but it's an iPhone regardless of what. Okay. And especially since, the average normie might just be on the phone just doing nonsense. It ain't like you got to have the top of the line thing. So if you don't have a lot of money, or you're a young person trying to get your foot in the door, you can get a free phone. You can get $15 an hour, all of that in the South. You straight. But unfortunately, that the government has expanded itself as far as the welfare state, and we see the result. This is why I always say you have to eliminate that welfare state. If you want to see families reunite, if you want to see less fatherless homes and less just degenerate kind of brainless behavior, get rid of that welfare state, because the welfare state funds all of the nonsense. And when you expand the welfare state, it's going to continue to fund the nonsense. You're going to see heroin and fentanyl and crack sales go through the roof. I'm talking about like the .com bubble when everybody was invested in that. That's going to be the amount of money that's put into fentanyl and crack and all these illicit drugs. You're going to see crazy overdoses and things of that nature. And the sad part will be that it won't even be necessarily enough staff to be able to deal with all the overdoses. Matter of fact, I'm going to just jump. I'm going to return to Afghanistan in a minute, but I got to get to the Florida walkout. I have to, because this whole thing is ridiculous. Now, you guys may have seen the video I did about Florida. There was a hospital in South Florida. I'm not really sure where it was. If it's Tampa, Miami, I don't know. But there was a hospital in South Florida where 75 doctors, quote unquote doctors, walked out. And a lot of you guys made a great observation talking about, the one lady that was in front talking to MSNBC, and, on air for an interview. First of all, she has no mask on, and she's right next to the interviewer guy talking to him. Second of all, she on a black shirt, a black, I guess you would say like medical scrub type shirt that said doctor on it with nothing, no identification badge or anything like that. Now, I'm not a doctor, obviously. I'm not a nurse. I'm not in the medical field at all, nor have I ever been. However, is that normal just to have a shirt that says doctor on it? I mean, is that kind of how we operate? I don't know, but I digress. The whole point was that there were 75 doctors who, quote unquote, staged or walked out in protest against the unvaccinated. Now, I've seen other protests that didn't get quite much attention from the mainstream media. There were doctors and nurses protesting in favor of the unvaccinated because they had a requirement to go get the shot and they didn't want it. And they say, hey, I was a hero all throughout the pandemic, right? I was a hero all throughout that. You guys said I was brave. Heroes work here, all this, that, and the third. And now that I don't want to get a thing that I did not have throughout the entirety of my time treating patients who had this particular bug, now I'm persona non grata. You guys don't even want me here. You want to fire me. You want to just use me and discard me. I put my life on the line for the hospital. Now you want to just throw me away because I don't want to just put my life allegedly further in danger. But anyway, I've seen that protest as well. People that say, I don't want to get this, don't force me to get it. But now we're seeing the reverse of doctors protesting against unvaccinated patients, talking about, oh, well, they're taking up all the ICU space and hospitals in Florida, 85% filled, all this, that, and the third. First of all, from you guys, yeah, exactly, Chad. They're frontline soldiers, frontline warriors. But a lot of you guys told me that hospital ICUs tend to stay full because it's how they make money. They're going to put people in them beds. That's part of the whole thing. So a full ICU is normal. Also, what they don't say when they're talking about full ICUs, it's a few things they don't say. They talk about people that are unvaccinated going to the ICU, and then they say the ICUs are filled, but they don't say, first of all, how many beds an ICU may have at a particular hospital. I know it could be different depending upon if you have a very large hospital or a community joint or a clinic or something like that. But how many beds are there on average? I've been in the ICU before, not because of me, but family members being there, whatever, people get hurt. Now I count the beds, like I'm in a little ICU spot. It's 10 beds for, a regular size hospital in Virginia. We're not talking about some major, super big thing. You got to have a golf cart to drive around, or you got to get in your car and drive to one. It ain't like that, but it's a decent hospital. 10 beds, maybe 30 beds on the high end for a big spot. So how many beds are we talking? And also, how many of these beds are filled with people that have the virus? Because there are a bunch of other ways you can go to the ICU, right? People getting shot every day, people, smoking crack, shooting heroin, getting revived with Narcan, overdosing, all that kind of good stuff. And also people that have heart attacks, diabetes, things of that nature, people that are elderly and have problems, people that get injured, car accidents, whatever it is. There's always going to be somebody in the ICU for some reason, but they're not saying exactly how many people are in there for what reason. They just say, if you're unvaccinated, you're going to go to the ICU. They're not saying people that are vaccinated may go to the ICU as well, which is a real thing. People have gone to the ICU and died with the virus. Now the allegation is, well, it's less common. Okay, cool. But how less common? What are the chances of you catching this thing, going to the hospital, and being in the ICU if you're unvaccinated versus if you're vaccinated? Give me the chances for either one. Don't tell me the percentage increase. Oh, it's 100 times more likely. All right, so check it out. Let's just say if, keyword if, I'm not saying these are the numbers, but let's just say if, for the sake of argument, right? Let's say the chances of you going to the hospital, going to the ICU while you are unvaccinated is what, like 0.03? And then if you are vaccinated, that drops to 0.0003. That's like, okay, great. But regardless of what, it's still less than a fraction of a percent. That's still less than zero. That's a fraction of a fraction. It's a minuscule chance regardless. Everybody knows what the science says, but it's like we abandon science just to go out here and get this thing. But anyway, I digress. So the doctors are saying, you know what? We're walking out. We're staging the walkout because of all the unvaccinated patients that are flooding the ICU. But are you going to do a walkout for all the repeat offender gangbangers who get shot, who, beat people down? The example I said in my video was when you have these violent criminals who get arrested, who are in police custody, who shoot people. Matter of fact, here's a better example. Remember that situation with Ella French in Chicago? May she rest in peace. The officer who was killed by the two brothers. One looked black, one looked Mexican, but they're like a year apart. But anyway, I don't want to go down that road. So she was shot and killed, and her partner was shot and injured severely. I'm not sure if he passed away or not, but he's injured severely and was in ICU. Now, the shooter was shot by another officer who came on the scene, a third officer. The shooter was shot and went to the hospital. Might have been the same hospital, but that shooter was not denied care. People could have easily say, you know what? You didn't shot 2 officers, killed one, and shot at another one. You shot at 3 officers and killed one of them and injured the other one. So you know what? Because of that, I know you've not been found guilty or whatever. That's fine, but check it out. We got you on body camera. We know you did it. It's you. The officer saw you. He pointed at you, said you did it. So because of that, we're not going to treat you. That's not how it works. You do your job. You might not want to treat this scumbag that shoots police officers, that shoots little kids, but guess what? It's your job. So if you're not going to walk out for that, then don't walk out for this. If you're not going to walk out for the crackhead, for the heroin addict, for the drunk driver, mess around and hurt himself and kill somebody else, don't walk out for somebody that don't have the vaccine. It's a political play. Your job as a doctor is literally to treat patients regardless. Regardless, it's not your place to judge them. That's up to the federales or whoever, to the authorities. You do your job. They have infirmaries in the penitentiary. Your job not to judge them while they're there. Like, they got convicted, they're locked up, they did a crime, right? They got caught, videotape, audio tape, went to the jury. Everybody was guilty. It was unanimous, no bones about it. It was a confession, confession. The victims on the stand testified against him. He did it. He's in the penitentiary. Now, if he gets beat in his head for his crimes by fellow inmates, he's going to go to the infirmary, get patched up. He might even get out of the penitentiary, go to the hospital while in custody, get treated, and come right back. Don't judge, do your job. So this whole thing with the doctor walkout was completely political, just trying to attack Ron DeSantis. And I find it really hard to understand the reality I see on the ground and what's happening on television. If you watch television, they'll tell you that Florida is terrible, DeSantis is terrible, the virus is all over the place, and if you catch it in Florida, you're going to die. Same thing with any kind of state that's open, Texas, Georgia, Tennessee, etc. But yet, all these Californians keep coming here by the jumbo jet load, by the plane load, by the boat load, by the car load. You know, they can't stop coming. Out where I live, is so much building going on, they can't keep up with it. The building is outpacing the infrastructure. They're putting up 700 houses down the way, 800 down the way. They built one development, and it's so janky the way the road is. They had to kind of get the city out there to fix the road because, you know, and then the guy that they interviewed was saying, look, I know they want to keep building, but they need to fix these roads up before they keep building so much, but they can't keep up. The roads are kind of janky in some places. You got mountainous areas, but they keep building. They're putting houses wherever they can find a place to put it. Like I said before, they putting houses next to creeks and cemeteries, wherever they can put a house, they're going to put a house. So if it's that bad out here, then why do we see the mass exodus away from utopia? Because let the media tell it, California is great. Gavin Newsom is great, right? Gavin Newsom is the best thing in the world. If you let the media tell you that, but the movements of people show something different. The movements of people say that California might not be so great. California might have an issue. Same thing with just the left coast in general. Your free out of Washington, Portland, Oregon, crime rate going up. Did you guys see that the crime rate, well, not the crime rate, pardon me, the homicide rate at one point year to date was up 800% in Portland? Homicide rate up 800%. So why is that not being spoken about? Why are we not talking about Antifa and things of that nature? I feel like that's more deadly than this bug going around. Maybe I'm wrong about that, but I think that I'm correct about that. I don't think I'm wrong at all. Not in the least bit. So yeah, the Dr. Walkout was really pathetic, really cringy, a political attack. And I think it's because DeSantis is the front runner to become the president in 2024. Anything I see on television, I don't care how far-fetched it may seem to some people when I talk about it. Anything I see on television, I think there could be a greater plan here. It could be you playing a long game, you're trying to, well, not even a little long game, just let's attack him right now so he doesn't gain any ground. The more he's out here doing well, meaning DeSantis, the more he does well, the worse it is for the left. They know this guy they have in office right now is pretty much on his last leg, and he's been like that for a while. If he was hanging by a string, he's hanging by a thread of the string at this particular point. At any moment, he could just fall off that string. Imagine if he's on television, right, giving an address to the nation and just collapses. Boom. Right there. Imagine what happens. It's over. You can't hide it anymore. You can't say, oh, well, he's just stuttering and he's tired and all this and that. You can't hide it anymore. So they're going to just pretty much drag him out, put him in the closet, basement somewhere, and then just put Kamala Harris right there in the place. Like, all right, come on, Kamala, come on, step up. Like, we don't got all day. Come on, get it together. Hey, I'm Kamala. You know, that's how it would be. So yeah, they don't want to do that. So they're trying to just run until the wheels fall off. And they know if DeSantis keeps getting better and better and keeps showing how well he's doing, it makes him look that much better, and it makes their clown show for the Biden administration look more bad than what it already does. They're out there trying to do damage control, and damage control is not working. So they got to try to attack the other side to make themselves look better. And at a certain point, that's not going to work anymore. And that's just the reality of the situation. But I thank y'all again for being here. Definitely appreciate you guys. If you enjoy what you're hearing so far, go ahead and give the video a thumbs up. Also, like the video, share the video, do all that good stuff. I'd appreciate you if you did. Now, let's talk about, speaking about your man Joe Biden hanging on by a thread of the string that he was on when he came in office, weekend at Bernie's, Geppetto. Speaking about Biden and this whole Afghanistan thing, it's crazy. Now, wow, Boomhauer says my HOA president is now paralyzed from the shot. It's crazy. That's really crazy. It shouldn't, you know, you got Biden on TV talking about, oh, there's no excuse now. Go ahead and get it. I don't know about you guys, but having the FDA say, yay, it's good to go, didn't really convince me to go out there and get that. Is Scott Gottlieb still on the board of directors at Pfizer? Scott Gottlieb was the FDA director, and right after that, he became part of the Pfizer board. And this happened in 2019. The timing couldn't have been better, right? So if Pfizer got their, if they got their shot approved first out of everybody, and the former Pfizer guy who left just 2 years ago is now, if the former FDA guy who left 2 years ago is now on the board of Pfizer directors, is there no connection there? Or am I a conspiracy theorist? Matter of fact, let's bring it up. Even Pocahontas said that he shouldn't be on the board. Matter of fact, let's look at it right quick. Scott Gottlieb, Pfizer. And I'm going to, yeah, so here it is. This is on New York Times. So ABL, you got all these right-wing sources. It's New York Times. This is left as you get. And I pay to have a New York Times subscription just so you know how dedicated I am to my craft. And I don't even like these people, but I have all the sources. So, New York Times right here. Elizabeth Warren calls on former FDA chief to quit Pfizer board. This is July 2nd, 2019. The timing couldn't have been better, could it? So, Pfizer gets their shot approved first by the FDA, but the FDA head just 2 years ago, almost to the date 2 years ago, this is in July, is now on the Pfizer board of directors. So does it mean anything that the FDA said, yeah, go ahead and get it? And why Pfizer first? Why not Moderna or Johnson & Johnson or anybody else? AstraZeneca. Is there a reason? Do I have on the tinfoil baseball cap right now? You guys let me know how I feel. I'm just saying. If I have a tinfoil hat on, then put the tinfoil hat on me because maybe it'll fit. Maybe it fits me, and that's just what it is. But I'll go ahead and digress. Now, speaking about this Afghanistan red line thing, this is all the Biden administration's fault. You know what's happening here, in my opinion? You ever have an assignment due in class, and there's a due date, right? The due date is May 1st, 2021. You have like the entire year to do it. It's part of your syllabus when you come into the classroom. All right, here's your work for the entire year. I've had that before where you get all the work for the entire year in the first day. So you have the entire year to get prepared for it, to learn whatever needs to be learned, to make preparations for that one day, May 1st, 2021. You knew what that date was back in October of 2020. You have plenty of time. You got 6 months or more to go ahead and get prepared. But you don't do it. There was a plan in place by the administration previously, by Trump and his team, but you scrapped it. So rather than just completing the assignment, all you got to do, Joe Biden, is just take the other guy's work he gave you. It's like you paid for the assignment to get done. It gets done. It's wrapped in just with a little bow on the top. It's like right here. It's a bow right there. All you got to do is like this. Take it. That's all you got to do. But rather than doing that, rather than just handing the work into the teacher, you take it, burn it, and then don't do it yourself. And then you're late. You're past May 1st. Then you're like, oh, well, it's not my fault. It's the other guy's fault. No. He gave you the work. He did it for you. And on top of that, it's not even his job. It's your job to do it. But anyway, May 1st or in May, that was a cutoff date originally. That was going to be the original exit date from Afghanistan. But there were certain things that needed to be done before that exit date. You're not going to, take the military out first. You're not going to remove air support. You're not going to do any of those things. You get the Americans out. If any translators or whoever need to get out to wherever they're going to go, get them out. But the Americans obviously first, get them out. And that's it. Don't pull the military before all the Americans are gone. That's dumb. So you pull the military in the middle of the night. You don't tell the Americans. You don't tell your allies from Britain, places like that, who are also in Afghanistan. You don't tell them anything. You just bounce. And now here comes Afghanistan. Allahu Akbar, shooting everybody and doing whatever they want to do. So now the original exit date has been passed. You're talking about September 11th. Really? September 11th? Why would you do that? It's not even needed. Now you're just trying to you're trying to aggravate the Taliban by having this special date for America. Ain't no time for all the games. Just get everybody out and finish the job. Don't have this special date for what? There was already a date in place. You want to scrap that for symbolism so you could be the big man, pump your chest? Stupid. Anyway, now rather than 9/11, you're going to have to go August 31st. And the Taliban say, you know what? Check it out. If you're not gone by August 31st, it'll be consequences. And you pretty much have no other alternative but to say, yeah, let's go ahead and do August 31st. Now you soft because you're trying to beg them to give you more time to get everybody out. Whereas before, there was already a deal in place. Everyone knew that the Afghan military couldn't defend the country. That's why the deal was done with the Taliban to begin with. The deal was done with the Taliban last year. Now, if everybody thought the Afghan military were able to protect themselves, they would have been the ones the deal was done with, and the Taliban would have been excluded. They did deal with the Taliban, not the Afghan military. So now you got to leave August 31st. There's still like 4,000 Americans left in Afghanistan. How you going to get everybody out? The whole airport thing is kind of a mess. They kind of controlled it. They kind of not controlling it. The whole thing is crazy. You got pop stars and news anchors fleeing. The whole thing is crazy for the entire world to see. China's using it in propaganda. Russia, everybody else, they're laughing. They're using it for their own purposes. And then the Taliban are also using it. Look how soft they are. Look how we made them run. The cowards, we made the British run. We made the Russians run. We made the Americans run. They can't do anything with us. You're like spawning a new wave of the Taliban to come about. The old Taliban dead and gone. You got a whole brand new Taliban with some of the younger guys coming in based upon what's happening right now with the weak administration. But hey, I guess we could say no more mean tweets, right? I guess we could say we don't have the orange man. Although Joe Biden is becoming orange himself. I don't know what kind of tanning bed they got in the White House, but your skin, maybe they need to turn that tan down a little bit to become less orange and more of a brownish color. I don't know how you accomplish that, but different story, I digress. The whole point is that this whole thing of the August 31st deadline is pretty soft and it won't be met. So what's going to happen is you're going to have people that are stranded. And it was crazy seeing Jenny from the block, Jen Psaki, talking about, well, there's nobody stranded over there. It's Biden will say one thing, Jen Psaki would say something else, Blinken would say something else, Milley would say something else. There's no communication, no cohesion. It's a whole big dumpster fire. People said that Trump's White House was in disarray. I mean, maybe it was at a certain point and for certain things, but nothing like this. Nothing like this. It wasn't to the point where if you talk to four guys who are like the top dogs in the White House, you would get four different answers. You would get a similar answer regardless of who you talk to. But that ain't the same no more. So, hey, if anybody out there voted Biden, I forgive you. I forgive you for doing that. Now, don't do it no more, obviously. Don't come about in 2024 and with a Pocahontas sticker or a Kamala sticker or something like that. It ain't going to be Joe. You know it ain't going to be Joe. Joe said from the jump that he's going to be a one-term guy. That's what I heard. Maybe I'm wrong. He said that from the beginning, he's going to be a one-term guy. So it's not going to be him. But don't come about in 2024 with all these blue wave stickers on your chest. I don't want to see that at all. I don't want to see any more pronouns in your bio. Just come over to the correct side and stop being a fence rider. If voting for Biden was a bad thing and you regret it, then just abandon that whole thing. You know, it's just like if you say, you know what, I smoked crack one time and it was a bad decision. Don't go back and smoke more crack. How about stop the drugs? Get off the drugs. Drugs are bad. How about that? But I digress. Thank y'all again for being here. Definitely appreciate you guys. If you enjoyed what you're hearing so far, go ahead and give the video a thumbs up. If you're listening on your favorite audio streaming platform, go ahead and give me a 5-star rating. Give me a share. Give me whatever you can over there. I'd most certainly appreciate you for that. Now, we got a whole lot going on. Oh, I got some clips for you guys. I got a lot of clips that I want to show. Now, this particular clip is from Trudeau's Minister for Women and Gender Equality. Her name I don't really know. Oh, pardon me. Her name is Marianne Monsef. Now, I'm reading more about her. It says she immigrated to Canada fraudulently. She claimed she was born in Afghanistan, but in fact, she's from Iran. She kept the lie going to further her career, a liar and an immigration fraud who calls the Taliban her brothers. So, if she did say that, and there's no surprise there, because it's Canada, and unfortunately, there's not a whole lot of people who are conservative in Canada. So let's check it out. This is, again, Marianne Monsef in Canada.
I want to take this opportunity to speak to our brothers, the Taliban. Wait
a minute. Let's just, if you didn't catch it, if I kind of caught you off guard, let's back up a little bit. Let's scoot it on back so you can hear what she said straight from the top.
I want to take this opportunity to speak to our brothers, the Taliban. We call on you to ensure the safe and secure passage of any individual in Afghanistan out of the country.
So, brothers in the Taliban, really? Is that what we say? Is that where we going? Say, hey, our brothers in the Taliban? Why do that? Now, people are trying to spin it, talking about, oh, she was being respectful. Yes, she did say brothers. Yes, she did. And again, that was Justin Trudeau's Minister for Women and Gender Equality. This is a government official in Canada. Yes, she is. Her name is Marianne Monsef. That's MaryammonSef. Marianne Monsef. She's from Iran, but claims to be from Afghanistan. Not from Afghanistan. She's from Iran, probably from Tehran somewhere. Anyway, now, this is what's going on. This be the same person that might call a white person racist just for being white. But then we talking about the Taliban, you got to say, brothers, why? Why? So when they chop women's heads off just for the crime of being outside with no burqa on, is that brotherly? Is that brotherly love? It's one thing to not intentionally insult somebody. I understand the purpose if you're trying to be diplomatic, if you're a government official. I understand. I'm not saying it's okay, but I understand. But to say brothers, you could just say Taliban and leave it there. There's a need to add any kind of little niceties on it or any kind of special treatment to Taliban. Ain't no point in doing that at all. Just say, hey, here's our plea. And my question is, do you even care what you say? Miriam, you're a woman, number one. Women aren't allowed to say anything in Afghanistan under the Taliban. You just put your beekeeper outfit on, get back in the kitchen, whip up some, I don't know what they eat in Afghanistan. Roll some of that hashish, cook up some hummus or whatever they got. I don't know what they eat. But whatever y'all eating, fix that and don't say nothing. Don't go outside. Keep your burqa on and have that be that. That's what's happening in Afghanistan. And I'm being serious. So what she said was just trying to virtue signal. That is it and that is all. And the immigration fraud on top of that. But hey, it is what it is. Now there's more videos here. Now, hold on. I want you guys to, let me see if I could pull this one up. Let me see if it's still there. It's kind of been a little janky. Yeah, that's not there no more. That's weird. There was one I had to show you guys, but I missed it. I definitely missed it. I'm going to pull it back up, though. I am going to pull it back up. But there was one clip where, here's one I want to show you guys. Now, there's no dialogue here. It's just a video of this lady at some kind of function. And I guess she's going to get a wine glass. You know, kind of like people got a little bit of money, I suppose, outside of this little venue. It appears to be LA somewhere left coast. I see palm trees. It could be Florida. I'm not really sure. Probably LA. And she's going to get the wine glass, but I can't really explain it. I'm going to show you guys, and then I'm going to say what's happening after I show the clip. Okay, so the caption here says champagne wall. Now what it is this outdoor area, sun shining, palm trees, et cetera, et cetera. There's grass they're walking on, and there's a wall that has kind of like terrace, kind of like grass on it as well. But there's hands extending through the wall. It's kind of gross, but different story. The hands have white gloves on it, and they're holding champagne glasses. So I'm not sure what that is. Is it the way to socially distance? Because nobody has any mask on. I don't really get what's happening. But yeah, that's how the rich are living. And speaking of the rich living and what they want to do, I have another clip. I got to find it right quick. I got to find this one because this one right here kind of sums up a lot of what's happening in the world with your favorite con artist. Oh, let's play this one first. I got a ton of clips. I see the craziest stuff all the time, so you don't have to. Now, here's a clip of, I guess it's a train, like an Amtrak type train. And there's a guy that's filming on the train. And the caption says, what happens when you watch too much CNN? And shout out to Roster Red Pill for the clip. So you're just walking, filming like the seats or whatever on his right-hand side. And then he comes across this couple. What is that? Now, I can't describe what he has on his head. A fishbowl, I suppose. A helmet, a giant helmet, but not a helmet because it goes. It's like imagine a fishbowl. It's like a perfect cylinder type thing that goes over your entire head, your mouth, your nose, everything, and you got plenty of room in there. And I'm not sure what that is on the side. Is that a pipe with a filter in it? I have no idea. So he has one on, and then I guess it's his wife or something. It's like a respirator right there. So it's like a giant fish tank with respirator on the outside so you can breathe. And they're just sitting like ain't nothing going on, just sitting there, typing on the keyboard, just chilling. And then the guy notices the other guy filming. He's like, what's going on? Like, what'd I do? Like it's just nothing. Like it's normal. I mean, the fear of this whole thing has gotten way out of control. If any of y'all are doing that, please stop. Please don't do that anymore. Let's just cut it on out. Like, I don't want to see that ever again. But I feel like I'm gonna see it more. I mean, when you have more lockdowns and things like that coming, I think we're gonna see a whole lot more of this kind of action going on. All right. So, there's more. There is more. We got Kamala Harris talking about a few things. And, all right, hold on. Let's see. Let's pull up Kamala Harris. We're going to pull her up. And you're going to hear her react when she asked about Afghanistan. It's like, hey, what's going on in Afghanistan? What's going to be the next thing? Whatever. So you're going to see what's happening with this. And you'll be able to hear the dialogue on this one as well for you guys who are not watching on video, just listening on audio.
What's your response to reports of Americans? Hold on. Slow down, everybody. I want to talk about two things. First, Afghanistan. We couldn't have a higher priority right now, and in particular, our priority is making sure that we safely evacuate American citizens.
But is that what she does all the time? Anytime she asks a question, it doesn't matter. It's like, hey, how you feel about the death of X, Y, and Z person? There was 8 people that got shot. You just laugh right away to gather your thoughts. It's like, it's kind of inappropriate to always laugh all the time whenever you say something like that. Now imagine her going to Vladimir Putin, Xi Jinping, and trying to make some kind of deal happen. Imagine that. This may be the next president, potentially, because we all know that Joe has a limited amount of time. Joe's pretty much, his time is expired. If he was a parking meter, it would have been expired. He about to get towed away. Okay. And there's not enough cash to get him out of the lot. So she'll be the next president. And you're going to be hearing this for the next few years.
What's your response to reports of Americans? Hold on. Slow down, everybody.
That's your next president, potentially. A person who polled at 0 while running for president. And they were trying, when I say they, I mean deep state, Democrats, whoever, the politicians in general, Washington, D.C., they were trying to push her as hard as possible before the presidential election, before the campaign cycle. It could be anything. It could be a Senate hearing about dog leash length in the state of Alabama, and she'd be there talking, and then they put her on TV. It's like, why do I care about how many salt cubes are in each particular shipping cart that go to Indonesia? Why do I care about that? But she'd be on TV talking about it all the time because they're trying to get her out there to get everybody to know who she is, to make everybody like her. And obviously it didn't work. And now that we see her more, she's even less likable. So it ain't really happening. Okay, another clip here. This is Rochelle Walensky, who is the CDC director. And I've not seen this yet, actually, but I know it's going to be good. I can feel it in my bones. Let's put it on the screen right quick. I'm going to read it. So it's like a split clip. The first clip says CDC director on the vaccines in March 2021. The one next to it says CDC director on the vaccines August 2021. So let's see how it's changed, if it's changed, which I know it did for 100% fact.
Our data from the CDC today suggests, that vaccinated people do not carry the virus, don't get sick, and that it's not just in the clinical trials, but it's also in real world data.
Reports from our international colleagues, including Israel, suggest increased risk of severe disease amongst those vaccinated early. Given this body of evidence, we are concerned that the current strong protection against severe infection, hospitalization, and death could decrease in the months ahead, especially among those who are at higher risk or who were vaccinated earlier during the phases of our vaccination rollout.
That's only 5 months apart, just 5 months. So if you say this in August 2021, how about in the end of the year? How about in December, January? What you going to say? Is it going to be the same thing? Is it going to be different? So if it's trusted science in March 2021, and then 5 months later you say something else, well, obviously the science changes. Obviously the science is not just a thing that's set in stone. A lot of these normies out there, they think that everything's just set in stone. They think that, science, it can't be disputed. It can't be changed. It can't be altered. But obviously it can. Obviously science is a study and things are different sometimes. But I guess when you say something like that, then, that's considered heresy under the new administration, under the new paradigm in the United States. Just 5 months. What they say is a 5-month bank transfer. Hilarious. That is hilarious. Exactly. Was that hell of a deal? It's not science if you can't question it. Exactly. That's the whole purpose of science, to question it, to experiment. That's why I do experiments. What's the point in doing experiments if you can't question the results? Like, you try to figure out what works. You're trying to figure out how to solve a problem. It's not like math where 2 + 2 is always 4. That's not how science operates. And you guys are smart, you know that, but a lot of normies do not know that. They don't understand that. So then when they get in your face 5 feet away with no mask on, talking about trust the science, you're a bigot for not wanting to do X, Y, and Z. Obviously, they're just being brainwashed by the television, and they're not thinking in a critical way or in an intelligent way. But it is what it is. Yeah, wokeness is weakness. That's right. That is correct. Oh, and I have another one here. Here's the one I wanted to show you guys. All right, here's perfect. Now, I may have already shown this, but I don't think I did. This is Nancy Pelosi hosting the DCC lunch. I may have already shown this, but I'm going to show it one more time anyway. I don't care. If you guys didn't see it, you're going to see it. If you did see it, you're going to see it again. So here's Nancy Pelosi hosting this lunch. It's an outdoor lunch. There's no distancing. There's no masks. Everybody's pretty much just elbow to elbow at this table. Pretty stacked, packed crowd.
We have in store for later, but for now.
Now the servants have on their masks, but the attendees do not have on masks.
A question was asked this morning by Ambassador Solomon about young people and how we're reaching out to young people in the Olympics. Well, young people, we always ask them, how do you want to be reached out to? And one of the main...
That's out there in wine country. It's out there in Napa Valley, wine country. Everybody's having a good old time, eating their, nice big ticket dinner, and that's all good. They've been doing whatever they want to do from the very beginning. Just when you saw Gavin Newsom out there at French Laundry, an indoor spot, no mask. At the same time, he was saying no indoor, outdoor dining, mask on. He didn't do that. They tell you one thing and then do a different thing themselves. So my thing is, I'm like this. If you can do that, then I can do that. You're not better than I am. This is not, we don't have this kind of society as of yet. They want to make it be like that. They want to say, hey, equality, 5 for 15, nobody's discriminated. Everybody's the same. There's no gender. While at the same time, they don't believe in that. They live a whole different life. They'll have the regular normies out there live that life, but they won't live it themselves. That's just how that works. All right. The crowds are usually like that. That's usually how it works at these dinners. That's usually how it is. And they'll be the main ones talking about, oh, well, you got to get this, you got to get that. All right. And before we get to the calls, which I will get to in a second, I'm going to read super chats. But before I do that, I have a cringe video for you. If you are on my Instagram page, Instagram.com/Anthony B. Logan, by the way, you may have already seen this particular clip, but if you're not on my Instagram and you're not on the Twitters like that, I got to show you this clip right here. Now, we all know about Gavin Newsom. He, I believe, will be recalled as the governor of California on September the 14th of this year, 2021. And Larry Elder is a front runner in that race to replace Gavin Newsom. So there's a lot of TikTok type propaganda out there to keep Gavin Newsom in office. And I had the displeasure of seeing some of it. And here's one of the top pieces of cringe from that particular propaganda set favoring Gavin Newsom. So yeah, the cringe is incoming. Get ready for it, Killer Sushi. Get ready. All right, let's check it out.
I got my ballot and I'm ready to vote. No, 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 no. He got shots in arms and a surplus too. Let's keep California blue. Baby got ballot.
One more time for the road. One more time.
Got my ballot and I'm ready to vote. No, 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 no. He got shots in arms and a surplus too. Let's keep California blue. Baby got ballot.
Super cringe, but hey, that's what's going on right now on TikTok. That is what's happening. That's not AOC. Looks like her. And you know what? You know the sad part is that people like AOC. I guarantee you that this young lady right here is an AOC fan. You know, trying to look like her and all that. I guarantee that's what's going on. So all that people like AOC are doing is contributing to a generation of cringe. That's what's happening. So yeah. Is that green screen? It might be. It could be, but whatever it is, super cringe. Hey, somebody said, show it again or don't show it again. Nah, I ain't gonna do that to y'all. But yeah, so contrary to what the young lady said, please go out there and vote yes on the recall to get Newsom out of office on September the 4th. If you live in California, September the 14th, this year, 2021, go out there and vote yes and vote Larry Elder September the 14th. If I lived in California or if I was an illegal alien, I try to go out there and vote, you know, do my part, but I can't do that. So, you know, I ain't trying to go to the penitentiary. You know, if I vote for a conservative guy and I'm a fraud, then I'm gonna go to the penitentiary. But if I vote for a liberal guy and I'm a fraud, then it's fine. I'll probably get a book deal and some more stuff, but I'll move on. You know, they said that your man from New York covered up 12,000 more deaths from the virus. What's his name? Cuomo. But what it took to get him out of office was a Me Too kerfuffle with no charges in that and just an investigation. That's kind of where we at nowadays. It's crazy. All right. We got super chats on deck, and then I'm going to get to the calls. Thank y'all for being here. Shout out to my man, Modern Renaissance, man. I see you in the building. Thank you for joining, boss. Oh, and also, you guys, I'll be live on Brandon Tatum's channel tomorrow. Just a quick ad right here before we get to super chats. I'll be there tomorrow with a couple of special guests. I cannot think about who they are right now. Pardon me. It's not my fault. Blame the white man. But it'll be myself, Brandon Tatum, and two other guests. I'm not sure exactly who they are. But be there tomorrow, 9:30 p.m. Eastern time. Be there, be square. It's going to be great. Whoever it is, they're going to be good regardless. I know Brandon's a good. He selects them good. So yeah. Let's go ahead and get to a few more super chats, and then we'll get to the calls. Let me just make sure I got everything together before we keep on moving. And the number to call is 434-658-1220. I'll get to those in just a few minutes. Today is the 25th, correct? Yes. Okay, cool. Thank you to Apu, of course, with the super chats, who says, God bless U.S. military, Air Force, Army, Navy, Marines. Thank you. Also, FA Ranger Xbox says, ABL, I think you should have an ABL battle flag of the Army of Virginia. Soap dishes with the ABL in the center. Hey, that could be a good one. That can definitely be a good one. Apu says, please pray for U.S. citizens and allies in Afghanistan. Go home safe. Lapperbull says, if you are a normie in New York City, they want to tell you to put a needle in your arm. But if you are a junkie, they won't even ask you to put a needle. They won't even ask you not to put a needle in your arm. Exactly. That's crazy. Apu says, 10 days, no Biden official been fired or resigned. Also, you safe from Tennessee floods. God bless. Yeah, I'm safe. Like, that's the Tennessee floods. That's past Nashville. That's like to the west of Nashville. It's like almost Jackson, which is kind of like it's almost West Tennessee. I'm in East Tennessee. So it's like probably about 3 hours away from me. But yeah, that was really sad. What happened was it's a river right there, and the river crested real high because of flash flooding. We got a lot of rain out here, but it didn't cause any flooding at all. But right there where they were at, the river just rose way too much, and it caused really bad flooding. It was terrible. So yeah, prayers out to everybody that is affected by the floods out there in Tennessee. I think it's in Waverly, Tennessee. So yeah, prayers out to all of them that's out there dealing with that. They want to talk about it's global warming. It's like floods happen, okay? Rivers, sometimes they flood. That's just, it wasn't like it wasn't like it just rained a lot and then it was a bunch of flooding. It was river that crested way too high. Thank you to Laura Catherine for your donation. Most certainly appreciate you. Thank you to linebacker 54 who says, has Joe Biden's butt been wet today? Serious question. Hilarious. Shout out to Josiah Duncan who says, I sent a video to your email of a woman claiming black on black violence is a myth and smiling about black on white violence. Yeah, that's crazy. But that's not surprising. Is that like a BLM type person? Not surprising at all. They want vengeance, but they don't even understand how they don't even understand what's going on. They're so bloodthirsty. They're so much of they want what they think is vengeance against the white man so much. They don't even see what's happening to themselves every single day. They don't even see what's going on. Apple says, God bless 1/6 January 6 MAGA patriots unfairly jailed and being railroaded by the corrupt DAs and judges in D.C. The FBI has now admitted no plot or coup. Shame on Dems. Correct. Shout out to Terranius who says, forced to get the vax will be fired. Second shot of Pfizer today. And that's unfortunate. Apple says, Bill Maher and Sam Harris describe Biden blunders as what Trump would have done. These libs are so deranged. Donald J. Trump would have not left Americans behind. Trump had a plan and didn't follow. So, I mean, you can't say it's what Trump would have did because Trump gave him what he would have done and he didn't do it. So this is all on them. They can't try to blame the orange man. Orange man gone. Blame this semi-orange man for what's happening right now because this is his decision. This is his plan, not the orange man's plan. I think it's a Perkalo who says, my boyfriend is going to have to quit the job he has worked for over 20 years due to the mandate. So absurd that it has come to this. It's really crazy. You know, I would try to find some way, some like religious exemption or, hey, I'm no liar. I'm honest John over here. I'm just saying you could put 2 and 2 together and figure it out. But I digress. Terrania says ICUs are always full. 10 to 20 is typical amount of beds. Apple says 16 California high school kids and 12 parents stuck in Afghanistan. They went for the summer vacay. Weird. Hopefully the SEALs or Delta will get them out soon. Who goes to Afghanistan for a summer vacation? Why would you go there? It's like, you know where I want to go for a vacation? Afghanistan. Why? I mean, are they Afghan themselves? Are they visiting family? That's the only reason I would go for a vacation is visit family, not just to be going. Yeah, like, I'm going to go to Afghanistan for a vacay. That makes no sense. Apu says, love your Gravitron ride memories. Any other rides? I don't know. I used to go to like Busch Gardens all the time in Kings Dominion. So all the roller coasters, Big Bad Wolf and Loch Ness Monster, all of that. Those are the thing, the battering ram. So yeah, that was my wave back then. When I was a little kid, a little tea kettle, and I was like a little small kid, not when I was, taller than the whole thing to get on. Let me see. Apu says, I'm on Tatum tomorrow. Jericho won't be there, but I think it's 2 other guys. I forget the name right now, but I will be on there with me and Tatum and 2 other guys. Terrania says, slow Biden is bungling mongoloid, but I digress. George repeats, thank you for your donation. The emoji donation. Thank you to Apple who says, Cuomo abandoned his pet dog captain, dirtbag. Boat versus Windshield says, I did not ask for the virus. If anyone has any kind of issue, talk to China. Also, airline wants $200 for unvaxxed workers. Is the airline paying for ICU? Now, okay, I saw that. So what Delta is going to do is fine their employees $200 a month if they don't get the shot. So what's going to end up happening is you're going to have a big shortage, just like what happened with, remember the whole Spirit Airlines kerfuffle? People were getting stranded in Florida. You're going to see that nationwide. I showed you guys the Twitter post earlier from Cleveland, Tennessee, how they had to shut down schools for 2 days because of lack of staffing. And it'll probably be more than that. I mean, it won't just be for 2 days. It won't be that the staffing will be done. It'll be more than that. So if you got to shut down an entire school system, an entire city, how about Delta Airlines, who are saying if you don't get the shot, we're going to fine you $200 a month. We're going to dock your pay $200 a month. I think not. I'm going to go ahead and just, you're going to have to fire me, really. You're going to have to fire me. I'm not even going to quit. You're going to have to fire me. I'm going to make you fire me. That's how I'm going to carry it. Now I got a lawsuit, but I digress. Shout out to Labrador Bulls, who says in NYC, they've been working on the Gowanus Expressway for 40 plus years. We put a man on the moon in less than 10. The corruption runs deep. Exactly. Because there's always a new way to keep getting that money, keep stringing the money out or something, running that money well till the well runs dry. And the government well never runs dry. And that's the problem. That's why it costs so much to go to college, because you got all these federally guaranteed loans. So the college can charge whatever they want to charge, because they're not charging you, they're charging the federales. Essentially, you have to pay it back, but it doesn't matter what you have to do with the federales. They're getting the money from the federales first and foremost, and then the federales get it from you. It's kind of how it works, right? Thank you to Third World Assassin that said, keep up the good work, sir. Thank you for that. I appreciate you. But thank you to Apple, who says, ABL, any Democrats confessing to you about mistaken votes all the time. All the time. One way or another. If it's not direct, it's indirect. They start asking me questions about how certain things go. Yeah, I get that a lot. Hapu says, callers, don't play audio live stream in background. Yes, please. When you call in, be ready to talk. Don't talk to the stream because it's a delay. You're not going to be able to, it's not like FaceTime. It's a delay. So just talk to me on the phone or on Skype and we'd be good money. FA Ranger Xbox says the White House is not requiring the vaccine for White House staff. It is not a vaccine. It's experimental gene therapy. Shout out to Mythinform, MKE, Milwaukee. Shout out to you. Great Twitter. It's a great resource for me. Thank you. It says, hey, AB, I would love to have you at the Better Discourse event on November the 6th in Fort Worth, Texas. It's going to be a great conference. Even better if you're on stage too, let us know. I'll let you know for sure. Thank you for that. I appreciate you. Thank you to Terranius, who says United Kingdom is furious with Biden. I bet they are, because what's one man's name? Was it Boris Johnson? Trying to call him for like 36 hours and got no response. So it's like, sir, you taking these troops out and we up here with you. You can't be doing that. You got to do things properly, right? Bo versus Windshield says this administration wants to say Taliban. Even Al Jazeera says Taliban. Are they trying to make the Taliban sound like a new dish from Cinnabon? Apple says, ABL, check out Mark Levin's interview with SAS Colonel Richard Kemp, expert in counterterrorism in Iraq and Afghanistan. He says Biden should be court-martialed. Wayne Steed says, ABL, don't be so hard on reptilian Biden. After all, he faced hardball questions from Cardi B before he was elected. Hilarious. You got this rapper with the IQ of a house gnat interviewing you during the, I'm talking about like at the 0 hour. Cardi B, really? Crazy. And nobody found offense to that. It was just like, okay, vote for Biden, riding with Biden. It was nuts. That was a surreal moment, to say the least. Apu says, when COVID is over, please come to Canada and educate us. ABL, Jericho, Modern Renaissance Man, Brendan Tatum, Right Man Angel, Hodge Twins, David Harris, please. Mr. Wombat says, really glad to see Herschel Walker running against Raphael Warnock. They should have them fight it out in Octagon since the voting booth is compromised. Keep doing what you do. Oh, man, they don't want to see that, because I don't want to see a man get stomped into dust like Raphael Warnock would get. Herschel Walker, I like him a lot. So shout out to him. hopefully he has success defeating Raphael Warnock. But versus Windshield says, remember I called it over a year ago. Biden gets kicked out of Cammy. Biden gets kicked out. Cammy selects Hillary as VP. Pelosi's okays it. Then Cammy gets the accent President Hillary. Shout out to... All right, lost my train of thought. Hold on. Oh, here we go. Thank you to Matthew, who says, the prime feminists in this administration are psychopaths. Maryam Monsef virtue signals to people that would enslave her, and the prime minister wants a she election. Canadians in the chat, do not vote liberal. Yeah, I saw that whole thing. You know, the she session, the she. It's like, sir, what are we doing here? That whole thing was completely cringy. 1,000% cringy. Matter of fact, let me see if I can find that. Yeah, she session, she covery. That whole thing was a mess. Okay, here we are. Let's put it on the screen right quick.
It is exactly the example of the kinds of things you need to do to counter the she session and turn it into a she covery. Fact is, the conservatives don't talk about that in their lengthy platform.
I mean, talk about what? Words that don't exist, things that don't exist, a she session. Just speak English. What kind of language is that? You speaking Klingon, sir? What are you even doing? And also this word, recession recovery, sir. I mean, I guess the whole thing is because women are affected by it. Okay, great, whatever, but it'll make a difference. Just call it what it is and stop being weird. How about that? That's your man up there in Canada. I'm sorry you got to deal with that man in Canada. My heart goes out to you. Really, it's crazy. All right. Matthew says, in response to Maryam Monsef's so-called cultural reference, hashtag not my brothers. There you go. Charles Hunter Jr. says, calling the California recall a Republican power grab is not an argument. Almost 1/3 of the people who signed the petition are Democrats. Pete Wilson and George, I can't pronounce that name, George D. How about that? Were the last real Republican governors. There you go. Duke Myjon. I know I sort of the pieces, but it's not my fault blaming the white man. Anyway, thank you to Lauren Ness, who says, you and B. Tatum, I love these lives. Well, I thank you for joining us. I'll see you again tomorrow with Brandon Tatum. Thank you to Jalea Defino, who says, I'm a state worker about to lose my job at Washington State because Jay Inslee is enforcing the vaccine. Also are saying we won't get unemployment benefits either. That's crazy. Ian Kenny says, well, wait a minute. If you get fired, you won't get unemployment benefits? Is that even legal? Ian Kenny says, roller rink closed down for good in Cudahy, Wisconsin. And when I look at comments on posts from local news, other people crying that they'll miss it are the same ones calling for lockdowns. Exactly. How are you going to have the skating rink stay up if you're going to be shut down? How they going to pay their bills? You know, you got some soft brains out there. Shout out to Jason Edward, who says, get your vax so the flu might get you. Also, thanks for a joke giving away military intelligence to China. Thank you to Jennifer Casey for your donation with the emoji thumbs up. Thank you to Georgia Peach, who says, I don't know about y'all, but I feel like I'm losing it. One day, like an episode of Walking Dead. The next day, they're Walking Dead. Shaking my head. Thank you to C. Denise, who says, keep up the excellent work, ABL. Thank you for that. Buff versus Windshield says, special shout out to the FBI, NSA. Have a nice day, folks. Please help yourself to a nice, cool glass of lemonade. There you go. Yeah, shout out to you guys. Hey, to all the FBI agents watching, hey, get a nice cold glass of water and enjoy the show. Let your hair down. You know, I know you're recording and everything. You're doing transcripts. I might have kind of a weird accent, and that's fine. You're dealing with that, but don't worry about it, man. Just enjoy the show. Enjoy the calls. And speaking of calls, the number to call is 434-658-1220. Again, 434-658-1220. And we're going to get to that in just a moment. If I can operate Skype properly, that'd be fantastic. super chat right here from Jennifer, who says Chameleon and the whole witch squad are waiting for Biden to step down. They'll take over. Well, step down or drop down, step down or fall down. You know, we'll see what's going on with that. 760, you're on the line. Who am I speaking to?
Hey, Anthony, it's Bill.
All righty, what's going on?
Afghanistan's really nice in the fall. You might want to rethink that.
I'll pass. I think I'm all right,
I hear you. Hey, wanted to talk about the virus. Obviously it's so bad. We had to shut down our nation. Australia's completely shut down because of it. Yet I don't know anything about it. I get electric bill, and in the electric bill I get a flyer about down power lines. I know more about down power lines than I do COVID. Living in Arizona, we had 120-degree days. You'd think they'd tell us, hey, when it's that hot, don't worry about it. It's going to die. Or if you live in Minnesota and it's 20 below, tell us, hey, it isn't. I kind of live under a rock. Do you know more about COVID, or have you heard how long it lasts on surfaces? Or are you like me, something so deadly and dangerous, I don't know anything about it?
I mean, the way I can't really answer because I don't really know, because I can't get straight information. All I know is what I gather on my own from random sources. But the government, who don't have much of a job, the job is pretty limited. They can't get it together. They say one thing 1 minute and then one thing the next minute, and it's not the same thing. So from them, I have no idea. But for me, I just think it's like anything else, like the cold or the flu is whatever. You just catch it or you don't catch it.
Well, I could probably go on the search, and be proactive and find out more about COVID. But again, if it's that important, you would think you'd get flyers in the mail, you'd see stuff on the news. I always just found that weird since this came out. When it very, very, very first came out, I heard something about surfaces and how long it lasts. And then that was only like 2 little blips. And it's been, over a year now. And I've not heard anything more about it. So I just found that odd and just wondered what you thought.
That's a good question. So, yeah, I mean, if we can get down to the bottom of it, I'd love to do it. But for right now, it's kind of up in the air. Who knows?
Yeah. Okay. Thank you, sir.
All right. Thank you for the call. Appreciate it. All right. Shout out to the call. I most certainly appreciate it. The number to call is, there it is, 434-658-1220. There's also a Skype email in the description box if you want to call in that way. Let's get to the next one. 215, you're on the line. Who am I speaking to?
ABL, how's it going?
It's all good. About yourself?
Everything's good. Hold on, let me turn the speaker down, sorry. So you won't hear yourself in the background. So basically what happened is a lot of the places they're going back to their old mask mandate. Mind you, I'm in Pennsylvania, so we got to deal with Governor Wolf. So apparently, but I want to see how long this is going to last, because they're saying, certain places are going back to lockdown, certain places aren't. But we haven't been hit with, like some of the other callers are saying, like mandatory mask mandate only if you apply for certain jobs like the hospital or anything like that. Certain companies are enforced being mandatory on the vaccines, but not all of them, thank God, which is a good thing up here.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
And one thing this is one video I saw. I don't know if you saw it, but it was about what was going on in Afghanistan. And when the Taliban when they raided the old military bases, you just see they picked up just a whole table of cash, just all wrapped up in plastic, and it was all $100 bills. It was like a few billion, probably even over $1 billion in cash just sitting on like a few tables, and they just picked it up when they raided the old military base. And this is on Instagram, and I was like, wow, they left. I'm still mind blown. They left all this stuff behind.
Yeah, it's crazy. That whole thing, that was a mess.
Yeah, and the fact that here's what I believe. I believe that most of our U.S. civilians are still in Afghanistan. They're hostages at this point because why would you get all the other people out? And I'm not saying they can't accept refugees. They get most of their people out and not our people, not U.S. citizens.
Right. I mean, that would make sense to get our people out, but the whole thing was just a mess from the very beginning. Like, this day was obviously coming when the Taliban would take over, when they would assert themselves, but there was nothing done to actually make this whole thing happen. It was a mess. It was a big mess.
And the fact that what really kills me is the fact that Biden is still considering negotiating with the Taliban. It's like, why? My thought is, has this guy completely lost his mind? But that's a stupid question to ask. I don't think his mind was ever there.
Right, exactly.
Yeah. But how do you think this whole Taliban? I mean, you think Biden? I don't think he can recover from this. Real quick, before I hang the video, what's your thoughts? Do you think like Biden possibly can recover from this somehow?
No, I don't think so, because what happened was, the main thing that lets me think that he's done is that the media turned their back on him, like the left media. Now, when that happens, it's hard to come back from that, because through everything that he had been doing, through pretty much almost collapsing,
they turned a blind eye to it.
They turned a blind eye. It wasn't a big deal. They made excuses for him, but now all of a sudden, that's not the same way. It's changed. So I don't know how you come back from that.
Yeah, I'm just curious to see what's going to happen in the next few weeks. But thanks for taking my call. Yeah, one more thing I want to say, just the fact that CNN, I think MSNBC is still trying to cover for him somehow. But once I saw CNN turn against him, I said, oh yeah, his days are numbered.
Right on. Thank you for the call. Appreciate it.
Have a good one.
All righty. Shout out to the caller. Yeah, a little bit of Walkout going on there, but I was able to hear him pretty well. Enough to be able to, talk. All right. Let's get to some more here. Let's go. Hold on. Now, okay, I guess I was a little bit too late. All right, there we go. All right, you're on the line. Speaking to 914.
Hey, what's up, ABL? This is Anthony. I'm calling from the wonderful, wonderful city of New York. How you doing tonight?
I'm doing pretty well. How about yourself?
I'm doing all right. Currently working. I called a few times, spoke to you before. I've been a fan of the show for a while now. I work in a hospital. And basically what I want to talk about basically is the virus and all this other crazy stuff that's been going on in the world. They're talking about this Delta variant, right? And they're saying how bad this thing is spreading. You got to be careful. And, you got to triple mask. You got to wear 10 masks, blah, 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 blah. This thing is spreading all over the place. Meanwhile, I work in a hospital. And we get emails every single day about how many patients have COVID. And since they've been starting with this Delta variant, it's been like two, three patients, if that, a week.
Right.
A week. And I don't understand, like, these people that are just so scared. Like, when I saw that video of you posting showing that dude with the bubble on his head, I was like, what, is this for real? Like, people's out here doing that? Like, it's tripping me out. And the news, all this fake trash, this garbage, is driving people nuts. And it's turning people into like zombies, and they're just being controlled. And I always compare it to like when you go into Walmart and you see the arrows, and it's like, follow the arrows, make sure you go in this path, because like that's a subtle way of saying, all right, this is our way of, we're going to control everybody, And I tell people that, and sometimes people look at me like I'm bananas, but I mean, that's how I see it. And I wanted to tell you, like, coming from New York, like, my wife, because I live in New York, but I'm currently not working in New York. My wife, she ended up, she works in Manhattan, and she forgot that COVID card, that passport that de Blasio, that low life mandated for us. And she forgot her card, and she went to go get a coffee, and they were like, nah, you can't come in here. So she went to a Dunkin' Donuts. She was like, nah, you can't go in here. And then she went to like 4 different spots, and they were like, nah, you can't come in here. You can't come in here. So they wouldn't even let her go into the laundromat without that.
That's crazy.
Like, it's crazy, yo. They're taking this thing to another level. And like, my wife ended up getting the shot. And me, I was just like, nah, I don't want to get that, because at the time it wasn't approved, and there's some shady things about their approval, as we all know. But now it's like I was almost forced into getting it because I live in New York. Yo, ABL, yo, I can't go anywhere if I don't get this. I can't even go to the grocery store.
It's crazy.
If I go to the grocery store, it's crazy. If I go to the grocery store and I don't got that, they're not letting me eat. They're not gonna let me eat.
So how does it work? Hold on. So how does it work? Is it like you go to the grocery store, if somebody out front and say, let me see your card?
There's people out there. Yo, they got people in front. Yo, the lines are crazy. The lines are crazy just trying to get into a grocery store because people are showing them their cards. You know? And the lines are, listen, it's crazy enough in New York. Now you're just making it even more crazy. But unfortunately, I didn't want to do it, but I had no choice. So I had to get the first shot. And I was so mad when I was getting that first shot. I didn't want to do it. It's just crazy what's going on, and the people are just following it like it's like they're not doing no problem.
You're breaking up, boss. Can you hear me? You there? You're breaking up real bad.
Yeah, I'm here. I am.
Okay.
I'm here. My bad. I'm at work right now, so my service is a little bad. But I be trying to tell people at work about this stuff, and a lot of people think I'm bananas. I got a loose brain, whatever though. But because I be spitting facts, I tell people what's going on, and people don't want to listen. But I feel like I'm a shepherd, and everyone else is sheep. Everyone else is fools in line. They're being good little girls and good little boys, and whatever big bad government wants y'all to do, they doing it, whether it doesn't even make any sense. I went on a rant the other day because I was wondering, at work in the cafeteria, we could sit down and we take off the mask when we sit down, right? But when we stand up and we go to work, we got to put the mask back on. We got to put them back on. Where's the sense in that? Listen, if things made sense, I wouldn't even really be asking all these questions, but things aren't adding up. You're giving rules, but they're irrational rules. It's contradicting what you're saying. So that's why I got questions, and that's why I think a lot of people are skeptical on these COVID things, and it's crazy, man. And one more thing before I let you go, man, because I know you got mad callers. It's a shame. It's a shame that what got this dude out of office was the chick thing. Now, it's messed up. Don't get me wrong. But listen, the fact my man murdered 15,000 people, man. All right? There was a plane that flew over my house, ABL, in Queens. All right? I live in Queens. All right? And that plane flew over my house. It had a banner. You know what that banner said on it, man?
What'd it say?
That banner said, "Call kill my grandma." It said, "Call kill my grandma." And this dude steps down, not in handcuffs, nothing, over allegations over chicks instead of murdering people, man. I think we're living in a world of idiocracy. I think that the world, people in general, are getting dumber. Not like me and you and other people, because we see through the lines. We can read through the lines. We know what's going on. But the way I look at it, I think that the world is getting dumber, man. And the smart people, man, it's like they're separating the smart people and the dumb people. That's what it seems like, man. It seems like there's a lot more dumb people in this world, ABL. But I'll let you go, man. And I always tell you this before I go. I always say, check out my track 2 + 2 = 5. I spit facts on that on my channel, whatever, and everything. And I appreciate everything that you do, ABL, and keep spitting the truth, man.
Thanks for the call, man. Appreciate it.
Yeah, no doubt.
All right, shout out to the caller. Yeah, it's crazy. So is it like that in New York? You guys in New York, you can't even go to the grocery store? I could never. Like, if I was up there, I'd just escape. I leave, because where I live, and none of that going on. None of that going on. None of that. You go to a grocery store, it's fine. They don't ask you for nothing. They don't bother you. Ain't no mask. You're free. You're free. You could just do what you want, and it's fine. It's no big deal. Nine 5-4, you're on the line. Who am I speaking to?
Hi, my name is Nina.
All right, turn the speakers down in the background for me, please.
Yes, I did.
All righty, what's going on?
Hello?
Yes.
Hi. I just wanted to talk about the whole thing about Florida and the doctors walking out.
Yeah.
I live in South Florida, and I know the area exactly where this happened, and it's a complete lie. People need not to believe this. It is not happening. There is no overwhelming of hospitals in Florida. I've lived here for 50 years. I personally know about what's going on in the hospitals because I see medical information. They are lying. This is all a ploy. This is not going to stop. There's going to be variant after variant after variant. This is just a form of control.
Go ahead.
My family escaped from Cuba. They did the same thing there. This is nothing new. And people need to wake up, speak up, and not be fooled about what's going on. But we can't continue to be silent because they are controlling everything. They control the media. They control the narrative. They control the information we get. We need to put out our own information. And we need to get out in the streets, just like they did with BLM and Antifa and everything else. Not violent, no violence. But we need to get out and we need to make ourselves be heard, be shown. Let them see us, because right now we're just sitting in the background. And our Republican, conservative, libertarian representatives, they are not fighting for us. They are not speaking out. There are very few of them, and they cannot fight against the swamp unless the people fight against the swamp. We have to speak up against the swamp. We have to. There's just no way we can continue this way. People need not be afraid. This is a control mechanism. The viruses come and go. This is a virus. People are getting, I personally know of people who have gotten the virus and are sick people, and they still recovered from it. People who get dialysis still recover from it. They don't report any of these things because they don't want people to know that people are recovering from this. So it needs to stop. People need to stop thinking that this is the end all be all of, take the vaccine or it's death. It's not like that. It's not like that. Of course, if you need to take the vaccine, you feel comfortable taking it, take it. But it should be a choice. The White House is not mandating it for any of their staffers. They have a right to choose. We should have a right to choose. And people need to speak up against the tyranny of the Democrats. What they're doing things in the middle of the night that we don't even know about. People need to look up Robert Malone. He is the inventor of NMRNA, which is exactly what is in the vaccine. Look up his videos. Listen to him speak. He knows what he's talking about. He's the actual expert. So, do research, people. Don't sit there, thinking that you're going to get your information from social media or from the media or from, just, even YouTube. When you see something on YouTube, question it and go find your own information. Go find your own answers. Don't just sit around and think that this is the end. It's not. We have a lot of fight. We have a lot of hope. There are things going on behind the scenes. There are a lot of things that people don't know about because social media, especially like YouTube, Twitter, and Facebook, they don't allow conservative opposition conversation to be out there for people to listen to. But you need to go find it because it's there. It's there. And I live in Florida, and let me tell you, Governor DeSantis is doing a freaking great job. People don't know all the things that he's done. So many good things for Florida.
Right on. Absolutely.
So have faith, have hope, and vote for Larry Elder.
There
if
you
you're
go.
in California.
Right on. Well, thank you for your call. Definitely appreciate it.
All right. Thank you. All right. Bye-bye.
Wow. Great call. Couldn't have said it better myself. Shout out to her. And thank you all for joining. If you like the video, if you like what you're hearing so far, go ahead and give the video a thumbs up. That'll help me out tremendously. Let's get to some more here. The number to call, 434. Pardon me, I almost said the wrong number. I got so many numbers I call out all the time. 434-658-1220. Again, 434-658-1220. Let's go. 331, you're on the line. Who am I speaking to?
Hey, ABL, this is Leslie out in Illinois. How are you?
I'm well. About yourself?
Good. I'm so happy. This is like I think my fourth time we're connecting again.
Well, I'm glad you called in. So what's on your mind? What's going on?
So I want to just touch two very quick topics. So one, I want to touch on, again, just the COVID. I'm hearing a lot of your callers calling in, especially the gentleman out there in New York. It's insane. That to me is like a socialist communist country. So it's kind of like we're talking about Venezuela and Cuba type of thing. And then this is the thing, he did make a point in regards to, well, how is it you go to a restaurant when all this ordeal started and you're somehow immune to COVID when you're sitting down eating, but as soon as you stand up, it's like, oh, like all your immunity to COVID is like completely gone away. So you got to put your mask back on because now you're pretty much, you're going to be exposed to COVID or you can spread it or whatever. So that made a lot of sense in regards to what he was saying, that it's just so, how can I put it? It's just such a dumb concept. That's all I can put. It's very, it's just dumb. Let's just put it that way. Cause I don't want to start getting, too much with my language here on your show, especially because we like to keep it nice and clean for the family, and we respect you for that. And then as well as I want to touch on, if we want to sit here and start talking about all these different variants that are going to start coming about, we need to start talking about them and have a very serious conversation about closing our borders.
Yeah, exactly.
Because the people that are coming in, we don't know. One, I mean, I'm Hispanic, so my family comes from Mexico. One, over there in Mexico, it's not mandatory like how it is here. Like you have to get certain vaccines. And, you have your proof, you show your proof of that in regard to like schools or, your medical history. We don't know. In Mexico, it's not like that. And I'm not sitting here saying that it's only Mexicans coming in from the border. It's different other countries. But think about it. If Mexico doesn't do that, what makes you think people from South America and other countries from the other side of the world are doing that, to their own citizens? So if you want to talk about let's stop the spread of different variants, well, then we need to close our borders. So I wanted to touch a little bit on that. Now, in regards to the Afghanistan collapse, it is mind-blowing what's going on over there. Not only mind-blowing, but it's very sad. And what I want to say here and tell everyone is that, these are topics that we really have to go ahead and stand up, not only to our locals, but to the House, to the Senate. We need to really stand together in regards to having our voices heard, because how is it that we are a country that we value our freedom, our Americans, and then yet again, we are allowing, it doesn't matter who it is, right or left, but we're allowing this administration to be spineless and to pretty much turn their back on us American people. So not only did you have this administration pretty much surrender all our military equipment, but they also pretty much said to American citizens, well, you're pretty much, out here, you're left on your own. And if we can come around and get you, we'll get you. And then that's the thing, we got to be very vigilant, and we got to be very smart. Jen, her last name, I don't know, the press secretary, though. I'm sorry, I have so many things on my mind. Press secretary went out and said, and this is how they try to cover it up. They're very strategic when it comes down to these things. She went out and said, the Americans that want to come home, like, help is on the way. Really? So that's how you're masking it. No. Who in their right mind want to stay out there in a country like this? Because I'm going to be very honest with you, too. I have friends, they are Muslim, and they do say it. The majority of these countries where it's Muslim, especially in Afghanistan, Iran, certain countries of that nature, they're very pro Sharia law. They're very they're radical Muslims. So it's nothing compared to like the Muslims that are born and raised here in the American culture. No, these are more like they're radicalized. So you're going to have these people, obviously the Taliban are over here now saying, well, you have until this certain deadline to get them out. And you have this president folding, and then you have this administration trying to cover it up. No, don't buy it. These are things that we have to, honestly, as Americans, we have to come together, and we have to demand not only the transparency for us all, but also the transparency and for all our American citizens to come home safe. Yes, we are a big country. We are a big-hearted country, and I do believe in the fact that, whatever allies we agreed to in regards to, granting them amnesty or that they're safe in regards to if anything happens, we're here for you. Yes, but we want all our American citizens first and foremost to come home safe. So, I don't know, ABL, all I can say here and say we have to speak out as, Americans in regards to what we want done, because again, we are the people. It's not the government, that's the people. We call the shot because we taxpayers pay their salaries, so they work for us. So what can you give feedback in regards to that? Like, where do we stand in reality? What encouragement or what advice can you give us as a whole? Because I could just sit here and say, we got to all stand together and we got to come together, but what can you advise us to do?
That's a lot that you gave there, so I'm not really sure. But I guess the main thing I can say before I get to my next call here is that people need to be honest and just look at things for what they are. And if you see something, don't be afraid to question it. Just look at everything in a realistic point of view, and don't let the media just brainwash people. And if you could tell somebody, just tell somebody, and tell them to tell somebody, and have it spread that way, because we know that the mainstream media are not going to get our voices out there for ourselves. But I got to cut it right there. I got to get to a few more calls. Thank you for the call. Definitely appreciate you.
Have a wonderful night, AB. I'll take care.
All right. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
All righty. Let's get to some more calls here. The number to call is 434-658-1220. Again, 434-658-1220. And let's get to 773 on the line. Who am I speaking to?
Hey, Bill. Hey, Bill. I do have a series of questions to kind of ask you, but the key one is, as much as we hear about the whole trustless science type of thing, but over time, just as a journalist like you're supposed to question the continuity and the inconsistencies of what was first said up until how we got here now.
I say, so what now?
as much as we keep on told to trust the science, but just like with journalism and research, that we all have to do our own research and question the continuity and inconsistencies from how we got from point A to point B all the way to modern time.
Yeah, of course. You gotta follow the whole trail. You gotta follow it from the beginning to the end. See how we got here. See if it makes sense. Of course, absolutely.
Okay, because that's a big problem that I've been having with both my folks as well as everybody else about this virus and vaccine debate, because there's been too much inconsistencies with both the stories, the narratives, and more importantly with the FDA and CDC in terms of who's more effective.
Right.
Because I saw a story which I was trying to tell you about a man in a Florida hospital where a doctor was restricted from giving his patients emergency help, and pretty much he was restricted from doing that.
Yeah, it's crazy. It shouldn't be that way.
Because, well, I do have a question pertaining with the FDA. If you read that PDF file that's on their website about what they exactly approve of.
Right. I read it.
Well, there's a PDF. I know some people just read the highlights, but there is a full PDF file in every single detail what they approved of. Pretty much there's still some careful wordplay we all have to kind of read through, because when I've read it and listened to another YouTuber explain it, is that it's still for emergency usage only.
Some of it is, some of it isn't.
Okay, because the real catcher has to do with us adults who don't want to, even if we do already have pre-existing health conditions, like with transplant people. Because the other day, I just had my own doctor's appointment, and my doctor kept pushing me to get it just because me and my brother's conditions and our immune suppressants. And it's just led to a huge, big, heated argument with my family.
Yeah, I mean, hey, you know what's best, so that's it. Doctor can say whatever they want to say, but sometimes doctors are wrong, and that's it.
Well, that's pretty much easier said than done, because over the past year, there was a whole bunch of doctors who opposed Fauci and the lockdowns, to now less than 2% of people on a daily basis actually opposing all of the stuff that's going on, from the mass the vaccines.
So wait a minute, hold on. So where's it coming from? Where's the number coming from? You saying 2% of people oppose Fauci and what's going on?
It's just a little bit of exaggeration, but
I'm saying, but it's like it's hard to really tell. It's hard to really put a number on it. It's hard to quantify how many people.
Okay, but my point is that last year you had live streams of doctors going on for 6 to 10 hours about everything that was going on, to now you don't have a single one of them talking about this in any type of details of what's the deal. And yeah, everybody should talk to their own doctor, but it's also good to at least hear another opinion from other people worldwide to see what they actually think.
Right on, no doubt. But hey, I got a few more calls on the line. I'm gonna get to those. Thank you for the call, man. Definitely appreciate it.
Okay.
All right, now. All righty, let's get to some more here. The number to call, 434-658-1220. And let's go. All righty, Victor, what's going on?
Hey, thanks for taking my call.
Ain't no problem.
Say, have you heard what happened to Sha'Carri Richardson?
Well, what would she lose the race? I saw that.
Well, after that, Allison Felix offered her a word of encouragement on the Jimmy Kimmel Live show. Then she proceeded, Shakara Richardson, to throw shades at her.
Hold on. So, Allison Felix, and she threw shade at Shakari Richardson.
No, Shakara Richardson threw shades at Allison Felix after Allison Felix offered her a word of encouragement.
So, what did Shakari say to Allison Felix?
Well, what Allison Felix said on Jimmy Kimmel, that people need to rally behind her to show her support. What Shakari Richardson said on Instagram, words of encouragement on a TV show is nothing.
It's like, why say that? It was no reason to say that. It was like, okay, if you're gonna say anything, just say thank you or say nothing at all. There was no need for her to actually go out there and say that, because now, like, you're just a hater. Somebody trying to give you words of encouragement, words of praise, and a legend in the game, Allison Felix, one of the best. That was dumb.
Yeah, and this just shows why she got kicked off of the team. It's not the suspension, because after the suspension, she was still able to compete in the Olympics. But the USA team decided to kick her off of the team. She is showing why it was a good idea for her not to be on the team.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I mean, she's giving them everything that they want. And really, I wasn't even necessarily against Shakari, because my thing was this. It's like when she got caught with the weed, she's like, okay, I did it. It's my fault. I apologize. It wasn't even like trying to make excuses. It wasn't even that. It was like, I did that. It's my fault. She did say her biological mother had died, but she was like, I did it. So I wasn't even really against her. But then when you come out here and do stuff like this, is like, you're not helping your case here. I wasn't really, but now people that were kind of on her side are being turned off because of stuff like this.
Yeah, exactly. I really hope that she really changed up her attitude. People are saying that that race is supposed to humble her, but she's showing no humility at all.
Nope.
Yeah. The doctors in Florida, when I saw them walking out, I'm asking myself, where was this energy well before? Because these doctors, they get frustrated at patients when they don't do their part to get treated well. And I heard stories about how they get frustrated with patients where they didn't do the simplest things, where now they're in the ICU. But all of a sudden, you want to walk out over COVID.
Yeah, it's crazy. It makes no sense.
Yeah, I mean, and this was set up like a dangerous, set up something dangerous, that if you're able to walk out over something like this, what are you going to do in the future?
Right. So that's what I was saying. It's like, okay, you're talking about the unvaccinated people and you don't want to help them. Well, there's plenty of people that come into the hospital. You can judge if you want to judge. I mean, you got criminals, you got the drug addicts, alcoholics, people that just can't stop eating, they 1,000 pounds. So where do you draw the line of who you're going to treat and who you're not going to treat? And is that even a thing you can do? Should that be part of your job description to pick and choose who you want to treat and who you don't want to treat? It's a thin line.
I mean, they're just throwing out the Hippocratic Oath.
Throwing it away like it's nothing.
Yeah. Yeah. The last one I want to talk about is the recent Nike commercial that they actually had to take down quickly because how the backlash that they got. Have you heard about it?
No, I haven't.
This Nike commercial, and this is how quick they took it down. The only way you can see it is if other people actually saved it and talking about it. It's a whole woman thing. It's a girl that's in her high school class that said that her assignment was to talk about the greatest dynasty in history. She said that No, I don't want to talk about people like Alexander the Great. I want to talk about the ones that's greater than people like him, the one that would make them look small. I want to talk about the USA women's basketball team as the greatest dynasty. So you want to tell me that the USA women's basketball team is greater than a person that basically took over all of Europe?
Right.
it, this is the problem with women's sports, and I probably could just stick with women's sports and why they're not improving. It's because they want to take jabs at men and always compare themselves to men. How can you expect yourself to make yourself better when you're trying to belittle or try to compare yourself to someone else that doesn't have anything to do with your sports? You remember when the UConn women and how they were saying that, oh, we're the greatest basketball team ever because we beat the UCLA record. Do you remember that?
Nah.
Yeah. So when it was the UCLA men's basketball record. I think they win like 88 straight games with the coach, Coach Woodley, as the coach of the UCLA men's team, and they felt, and the UConn women felt that they accomplished something because they beat a men's record. Yet you could see where the women basketball team, women college basketball is today. Still not that relevant.
Not at all. Not in the least bit.
And I'm just going to help out the women's basketball. They have stories. They do have stories. Just with college basketball, not only have UConn, you also have Tennessee women basketball team that could create stories. The WNBA, they have their own legends like Lisa Leslie, Cheryl Stroop, Cynthia Cooper. Shoot, the Houston Comets, it was basically the Chicago Bulls of that time. You also have Cheryl Miller, probably the greatest women basketball player ever. Yet though, you're too busy to do the social justice stuff, too busy trying to compare yourself, man. But yet though, you're not elevating these stories, these actual good stories that you have. You're just basically ignoring them and putting it by the wayside. And that's the problem with women's sports. They're not trying to elevate themselves at all.
Right on. Exactly.
Yeah. All right. Thanks for taking my call.
Thanks for the call, man. Appreciate it.
All right. Bye.
Yeah, I gotta do a reaction to that Nike commercial. I've not seen that. Yeah, I gotta do a reaction to that one because greatest dynasty. Why are we even talking about why would they even be in the same category as something like a real thing? Like taking over Europe. I don't really get it. Just this really weird woke stuff. And my question is, who are you even marketing to? Are you marketing to the target audience of Nike? People that, may play sports, so they may enjoy wearing the clothing. Who's going to wear that? Are you going to have your weird leftist type people really involved with that? I don't know, but I digress. 713 on the line. Who am I speaking to?
Hey, my name's Carmen. I'm calling from Louisiana, and I want to see if you heard about anything that was going on down south our way.
There's a lot going on, but I'm not sure what's happening specifically.
Well, let's see. Supposedly, all of our hospitals are full, and there's no beds, and every day I get a text message. It's like 10,000 people now have COVID, but they're not shutting down schools, and they're not shutting down businesses. Well, our governor, John Bel Edwards, he's Democratic or whatever. oh, he's not going to shut us down. He can't afford to because, we got casino industry down here. So he's not going to take that lick. But if everybody's getting sick in school like they're saying, why are they not shutting us down? And how do we know these numbers are real? And for colleges, I know McNeese State University, they're requiring the Fauci ouchie come the spring. LSU, you can't go to the games unless you have it. Like, it's just getting, I'm not sure what they're trying to make an example of, but, like, it's not adding up. I think, like, he's in cahoots with him. Like, everybody here in the medical field, like, they're all on the same page. Like, nobody's speaking out against it down here. It's like they're all sheep, and it's just so weird. Like, we haven't heard not one medical doctor or nurse or anything from down this way speak out about it and contradict anything that they're saying in the news and stuff. But I don't know, something's fishy. I think they're using us to set an example. I don't know for what, but I don't know. Something's going on.
I think people are confused. People that's down there trying to, be in charge, be leaders. I think they're confused. I think they don't know what's going on. They're just trying to throw whatever they can at the wall and see what sticks. And this is what they came up with. One place they shut down, other place they don't shut down. And they keep going back and forth, and they don't really know what to do from day to day. That's kind of what I see happening, because the rules don't make any sense. I see one event get shut down, and another event is pretty much the same thing. It doesn't get shut down. It's really weird.
It is, and then we don't know what phase we're in. We're like in phase 2.5, -1.0. We're supposed to wear the mask. We're not supposed to. Nobody's wearing a mask out here. Like, they're not even checking for any of that. We can go in the stores without the mask. It's pretty much up to us.
Right.
But I don't know. Something's not right. And then on top of that, we got hurricanes coming. Like, we don't have time for this. Like, we just don't.
I saw that when John Bell Edwards said, hey, you know what? You got to get ready for the hurricane. And part of getting ready for the hurricane is getting your vaccine. I'm like, really, sir? For real? The vaccine? We ain't talking about evacuation routes or shelters or any of that. Nah, get your vaccine for the hurricane.
Yeah, that was nice how he slid that right on in there. Yeah, but it's getting crazy. I don't know. They're talking about vaccinating the kids now for the schools, and it's just too much.
Yeah, it's a lot.
Oh, and I also want to say, with their Wish lab coats on that they had down in Florida, they ordered those straight off of Wish, and it looked like it was a green screen. They think people are crazy. Like, nobody sees this. Nobody. Common sense ain't so common.
That's right about that. I saw them lab coats. I'm like, really? Is that a real coat? It just say doctor on it, and that's it. No badge, no identification, just doctor, and that's all. And,
doctor.
And anybody going to question that? Yeah, you got a point there.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate you taking my call, and that's the craziness that's going on this way. Since it's not being really broadcasted, but appreciate you, and I'm a big fan.
Well, thank you for your call. Definitely appreciate you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
All right. Great call from down in Louisiana. And I believe this is the clip right here of John Bell Edwards, the Louisiana governor, talking about the hurricane. Now, y'all know I'm from Virginia Beach area. Hurricanes were a normal thing. When the newsman would get on TV, or the governor, whoever it is, they get on TV, and if it's one hitting, it's about to hit, they say, hey, we need to take, they say, go down to the grocery store and get the Wavy TV 10 evacuation plan, has a map so the routes you can go to, talk about shelters that to be open, and talk about getting water and non-perishable items, all this, that, and the third. Prepare for the hurricane. If you're living on the Outer Banks or somewhere close to the water, board up. Is what they always say. I never in my life heard about any kind of medical advice at all when you're talking about a hurricane coming. But here's your man, John Bell Edwards, talking about getting a shot. Let's check him out.
Hurricane season is here, and the time to prepare is now. In Louisiana, We know what hurricanes can do to our communities and the importance of having an emergency plan and taking the steps to ready yourselves, your family, and your community.
You can take simple steps to prepare for hurricanes, including getting a COVID-19 vaccine and building a ready kit with items and documents you need in case you need to evacuate. The best way to keep your family, your pets, and your neighbors safe is to have a plan. Visit ready.gov to begin planning today.
A COVID vac? What are you talking about, lady? Never in my life. Again, from Virginia my whole life, born in West Virginia, moved to Virginia, left 2017, been here. I know about hurricanes, and when it's every single year, from summertime right around July, August to Halloween, that little time right there, hurricane season. Never have I ever heard any kind of medical advice ever until right now. Completely ridiculous. How is that going to help you when the storm surge is hitting? Oh, you know what? I ain't worried about that storm surge hitting and the floods taking over my house and things of that nature. I ain't worried about evacuating and going to a shelter and getting some potable water and something to eat and not having my power on for about 2 months. I'm not worried about that because you know what? I got my vaccine. How about that? The dumbest. I mean, come on. Like, at a certain point, I understand how some of these politicos think. Oh, they're just dumb. They don't know any better. But I might not be the sharpest knife. Okay, there may be some knives in the drawer that are a little bit sharper than I am. Potentially, perhaps. But come on. Really? I'm getting triggered, so I digress. That was a real clip from John Bell Edwards. And who was the lady? That's Deanne Criswell, FEMA administrator. Your government at work, folks. Your hard-earned tax money going to nonsense like that. All right, let's get to the next one. Let's go. 631, you're on the line. Who am I speaking to?
I'm being curious, so I digress. Hello?
631, hello.
Hi, how you doing?
Yes.
Hey, how you doing? I just want to touch on something real quick. It's a little bit old news. This is back August 5th, but I found it interesting. They had a drill, Operation Northern Strike. It's an annual exercise, but this year they landed for the first time military aircraft on civilian roadways in the U.S. They landed on Michigan Highway 32. There was 4 A-10s and 2 C-146s.
Okay.
So it's kind of strange that everything is kind of going haywire in the U.S. and now they're training pilots to land A-10s on the roadways here.
Hey, they might be ready for. They might see something coming. Maybe they think there could be a reason to do that. Maybe they already had intel. Huh?
That's what I'm saying, because they're generally used for like tanks and infantry. So like that's what kind of like spiked my interest when I heard about that.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen some things. I've seen some interesting things. Like I've been on the interstate and I've seen tanks on the interstate. It's like, where's that going? I wonder what's going on. I see some things like that occasionally, and it kind of just piques my interest. But I feel like there may be some intel that they already know. There could be some things happening. They could be training. Who knows what's going on?
Maybe stocking up, getting ready.
Possibly.
One more quick thing. The CDC recently changed their guidelines for reporting COVID numbers. It went from confirmed cases and deaths, and they changed it to either suspected or possible confirmed cases and deaths. So I think we got a spike right after that. That was like mid-April, April 15th.
They keep changing how this whole thing is going. They can't stick to one standard. They're not being consistent. It just making things up as they go along, you know. And a lot of times, even when they just had it as cases and deaths without a suspected before it was still suspected. But then they may have just broadened it to include things that they know aren't the virus directly. Like they could have said before, when talking about suspected, okay, somebody dies in a motorcycle accident and they get beheaded in an accident, but they had the virus, then that's a virus death. Now it could be something. It could be natural causes, and they, 95 years old, and they thought that they might have been exposed to it, then they put it down. Just dumb things like that, but that's kind of where we are, unfortunately. just trying to push this fear narrative, this really big number to go out there and market with. 600,000 Americans have lost their lives. Is that true, or is it just some of these cooked up numbers?
Yeah. I got to keep it going until the midterms at least.
That's right. You got it.
Well, ABL, I love your show. Keep doing what you're doing.
Thank you for the call. Appreciate it.
Take care.
All righty. Shout out to the caller. Yeah, I've seen some interesting vehicles on the roads, and it's like, where's that going? I wonder. Or like in the plane flying in the sky, where's that going? Where's that going? Let's go 615 on the line. Who am I speaking to?
Oh, hey, ABL, I didn't know I was going to make it on the phone. You know, there's a lot to talk about, but it seems like these days, have you ever heard, you know, when people get the flu shot and people get the flu all the time? You know, that's one of the things. It's kind of like with COVID. You know, it seems like this came to mind. What they put in the shots. I mean, I wonder if people will actually have side effects of COVID. That's just, you know, it just comes to mind just thinking about it. Hey, this is Joe, by the way. I didn't introduce myself. Sorry, taking my time here.
Oh, it's all good. But yeah, I mean, a lot of that happens as far as, you know, people get this shot and all of a sudden they become quote unquote sick. Yeah, that's like a normal thing. And people don't think it can happen here for some reason. Like, that's just beyond possibility. I mean, I don't understand why people think that way. I mean, the people that are in charge, they don't want us to believe that. But just regular people just thinking for themselves, why wouldn't they think that way? It's just kind of normal.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. And you think about like stuff like about 100 years ago, you know, or, you know, later on in life, it seems like, I was talking to one of my work buddies. It seems like, you know, when people did get sick, they used natural herbicides. That'd be much more better, because in the hospitals, you got to be really careful, because you can also, you know, doctors could misdiagnose you, because they're also run by, you know, it's almost like it's a system in the freaking, you know, medical field. It's like, there's so much going on. I'm just going to point, there's so much going on out there, you know, that we don't know about, that, you know, maybe one of these days we'll figure it out. But yeah, it's just, you know, I mean, because when my grandpa was dying, you know, a nurse, or, you know, it was a physician, my aunt, she's a nurse, but they were coming after him and they're doing all of this. But luckily she had her brother, you know, was an anesthesiologist and could figure out what was the exact problem. So that's always lucky if you have that. But I'm just saying, you know, always be careful when you're like going in the hospitals and stuff. So, you know, all the medical professions don't know everything about anything, you know. You know, that's just my 2 cents.
Right on, man. Makes sense to me.
Yeah. All right. Well, you have a good day. Good night, ABL. Yeah, and rest in peace to Phil Valentine. I don't know if you ever heard about him, but he's was a big radio conservative radio host here in Tennessee. Just, you know, FYI.
Yeah, absolutely, man. So RIP Phil Valentine, thank you for the call. Most certainly appreciate you.
All right, you're welcome. Bye-bye.
All right. Yeah, I think he meant to say holistic herbicide. I heard holistic in my mind. Cause I'm thinking about what people are saying, but I'm hearing it differently. I'm hearing the way that I think that they intend to say it in my mind. If that makes any sense. I'm thinking on the fly like that. So I didn't even really hear that as that. I didn't really hear it that way. All right. So let's go. Somebody asked me if I may be from YouTube on Skype. Yes, that's me. Yes, the email is correct in the Skype. So if you want to call me through Skype, that's fine. But the number to call regularly is 434-658-1220. Again, 434-658-1220. Let's go to the next call. 843, you're on the line. Who am I speaking to?
Hey, ABL. I remember talking to you about the whole like Obama a birthday party and whatnot. It's funny because, like, not even 2 weeks later, Nancy Pelosi is having the same thing. And it makes it more and more clear that, I guess, this pandemic, or whatever you like to call it, pandemic, how you like to call it.
Yeah, the
it makes
pandemic.
it more clear to, it makes it more clear to me that that they're not taking this seriously. I mean, it's nothing like, nothing serious to them, really.
Oh, of course not. I mean, I think that we've all seen this. We see what's going on, and it's like they are telling us, hey, you guys live in your own world over there. We are the elite. We do what we want. You guys need supervision. You can't do things on your own. You can't make your own mind up. You can't manage yourselves. We'll manage your lives for you. That's kind of how they operate. And I don't take too kindly to that. I don't take too kindly to just being, having this paternalistic type government on top of my back. I don't want that. All I need for them is to be in the background lightly, to be almost unnoticeable, not to be managing my everyday walking life.
Correct. And one thing, because I was watching the video, she and all the other elite people are like sitting down, not even wearing their masks. Meanwhile, like all the servants who I guess are serving their food or not are wearing masks, because it's like, what the heck, dude?
Yeah, I mean, it's crazy. I mean, that right there, it shows you the difference. It's like, we're the elites. You guys are the peasants. You guys must do X, Y, and Z, but we don't. That's not for us. It's for you. You guys are the unclean, the unable to control yourselves, but we're different than you.
Yep. And one thing before I go or whatever, did you hear about the Supreme Court, I guess reinstating Trump's remain in Mexico policy, basically ordered Biden to reinstate Trump's policy?
I did hear that, yes.
Yep. I guess it tells me one thing, that I guess what Trump was doing was right.
I mean, clearly it was right. Clearly it was working, because there was no border crisis under Trump because he had that policy. It was very simple. Stay in Mexico. Don't come from all over the whole world to come into the U.S. illegally. But the Biden team, they reversed that. Now we have a whole crisis.
Yep. I mean, all Biden had to do is
nothing. Just keep going.
Leave it as it is.
Right.
Yep. As his former president said, don't. I guess how is that? What did he say? He said, "Don't say something to Biden to mess things up or whatever." Or don't underestimate Biden's ability to mess things up.
That's correct. Speaking about Obama, you said that about Joe Biden.
Yeah. Yep. I mean, hey, I can't disagree with him on that.
Exactly. 100%.
All right, man. Well, it was nice talking to you, man. I'll let you get more calls.
All right. Thank you for the call. Definitely appreciate it.
No problem, man. Take care.
All righty. Great call. So here's a meme that kind of illustrates what I was just talking about how they want to be the managerial class. We're just the regular normies trying to make a, so here it is. You see, it's kind of small. Make it a little bit bigger. So it's kind of not necessarily the same thing in the caption, but you get the point. So on the left, if you can't see it and listen to audio only, on the left, you have this slum-looking area. Everything's great. Got these little tin roofs or whatever. Everybody's huddled together, elbow to elbow. And it says, people supporting online Marxist influencers. And then on the right, you have, like on the left, you have about half the land area, right? But you got about dozens and dozens of these little shanty houses with probably about 100, 200 people in that one little area. But in about 2/3 of the area that's pictured in this little illustration, you have one house, maybe two houses, and they got pools and beautiful and, really landscaped areas and nice roads and all that stuff. And there's a big wall, of course, in between them. There's always a wall in between the elite people and the non-elites. While at the same time, they'll sit there and tell you how racist it is to have a wall. They'll have walls, pit bulls, a private security, private police force, guns, grenades, booby traps, landmines, all of that to keep you, the normie, out. See, that's kind of what's going on. That's your Barack Obama, your Martha's Vineyard, your Nancy Pelosi. Let them eat cake. Let them have ice cream from her $1 trillion refrigerator. That's kind of how that is. Yep, the barbed wire, of course, the top level security for them, but for you want to even have a 9mm pistol to protect your house. Nah, you can't do that. But I'm gonna have the top level security available in the entire world to protect me from you. All right, Skype caller, you're on the line. Who am I speaking to?
Yo.
Can you hear me? I hear you.
Yo, what's going on, man? Yo, my name is Reed.
All righty, man. What's happening?
Yo, nothing much, man. Thank you for picking up the call, man.
No problem.
Yo, I just moved down to South Carolina. I was living in Rhode Island the past couple of years, and I grew up in Massachusetts. Thank you, man. It's way better down here, bro. You were part of the reason why I moved down here, exposing what's going on, man.
Well, I'm glad you came on down, man. Coming down to a good part of America.
Yeah, bro. Yo, I was just wondering, man, what do you know about South Carolina? Because I'm new down here, and people like Republicans will usually talk good about like Tennessee, Texas, and Florida. I know the income tax is different, but what do you think about South Carolina? Like, I heard that, did you say that you manufacture stuff here?
No, I don't. I don't know a lot about South Carolina, honestly. I've been to Charlotte, which is right there on the border, obviously, of North and South Carolina. And I'm from Virginia, which is like on the border of North Carolina. But I don't know a lot about South Carolina. I hear it's nice. Are you by Charleston?
No, I'm in Spartanburg right now.
Oh, you're in Spartanburg. Okay, well, you ain't that far from Charlotte then, right?
Charlotte, yeah, I know what that is. Yeah.
Yeah,
I
so-
thought I was gonna move. I thought I was gonna move to Rock Hill,
Uh-huh.
but I ended up moving to Spartanburg because it's pretty cheap to live over here, and there's a lot of good jobs.
Yeah, that's not really I don't know a lot about that particular area. I'm sure there's people in the chat. I'm sure they know about South Carolina because, people from all over the world are here in the community. So maybe you could ask one of them. But what I know about the South in general is that it's, people are going to be friendlier than they are up north. You probably already seen that already. Yeah.
Yep.
Like you said, better jobs, lower cost of living. That's just a basic thing. But as far as anything specific, I don't know a lot about South Carolina.
Okay. All right, man. Well, thank you very much, man.
Thank you for the call, man. Appreciate you.
Yeah, peace out, man. Have a good one, bro.
All right. Yeah. Shout out to the caller coming from South Carolina. Yeah. I've been through Spartanburg on the way to Charlotte. What's about like an hour and a half away? But I don't know a lot about that area. Yeah, that's not really my wheelhouse. But hey, when I went through there, it was nice going through Spartanburg. But again, you guys know more than I do. Yeah, but I hear people keep telling me about Charleston. That's, South Carolina, not, my birthplace, West Virginia. But I hear a lot about South Carolina and Charleston, but not so much about the interior part. Says Spartanburg, Greenfield is fast growing, but the progressives are trying to take over. Yeah, see, that's why we got to really be in these conservative stronghold areas. So if you are a person living in California and it's time to move, or you're living in Illinois, go ahead and come on out to the South and fortify the area. Don't let the other side take over, because the Californians are moving. Now, you can stay and fight, I understand, but guess what? The lefties are moving and the conservatives are moving. And if more of the leftists move to a particular area, then it will become that. That's what happened in Virginia. Virginia, when I was a kid, was always a red state. And then as I got older, as I grew up, I started to see it become more blue. Like I wasn't really aware of politics as a kid, but I would just watch the presidential election, things of that nature. I watched that just to see the maps, because I always like maps. And I will always see Virginia be deep red. And then as the government grew, then so did the DC metro area. And rather than them living in Maryland and Silver Spring and places like that, they moved across the Potomac to Virginia to start living out there. And then that got so big, it became dominant. And now Virginia is always blue, but it wasn't like that when I was a kid. So you don't want that thing to happen to a place like South Carolina or to Georgia even, because of Atlanta growing so much with all these out-of-state transplants that want to go to Atlanta and become a Hollywood star, but end up waiting tables for no money, having roommates at age 38. You understand? But I digress. I'm going down the rabbit hole, so I don't want to do that right now. Let's go to the next one. 570, you're on the line. Who am I speaking to?
Raymond.
All righty, what's happening?
Yes, sir. I'm wondering about what you think about the list that they have going out for the 1-6, what's it called? The 1-6 investigation. They're going after actual civilians now. They're going after Jack Sobek. They're going after even like Mr. Pressler. You know, may I ask your opinion about that list, sir?
I feel like they're just trying to attack conservative influencers because they know that we have an impact. And for the record, I'm not on that list, just so anybody watching may not know. I'm not on that list, but a lot of guys I know are on the list. And I'm not sure what the list is even for. So what is that list? It's just they want to just talk to these people.
They want government. If they've been talking to the government, as of right now, at least the first step is that there's government communications with them.
Okay. Yeah, so that list, like I said, it's just trying to attack conservative influencers. The whole commission was about that from the beginning, because really there's no need in having the commission. They already said that it wasn't planned. It wasn't this whole big thing, not by us, maybe by the federalists, but not by regular normies that were out there just at a march that got out of hand. So if we already know that it wasn't planned by us, what's the point? It's just a political thing.
You're exactly right. They're going to have to like post those contacts inside the White House. Exactly, sir.
Right. Correct.
All right. Hey, ABL, man, I don't see watch you too much. I watch your shows offline, not your live shit stuff. Sorry. But I appreciate it. You do great works. And it's stand up, man. Thanks so much.
Well, thank you for the call. Definitely appreciate it.
Rock and roll.
All right. Shout out to my man for the call. Yeah, the whole thing with the January 6th, it's no need to even do that. It's like, why even have this little commission? There's no purpose. Yeah, Stalinistic. Also reminds me of McCarthy. Joseph, what was that? The McCarthyism, having these lists of people trying to, witch hunt. And I think it's also intimidation, because once you on a list like this, when the federalists got their eyes on you. And my thing is, ain't no point in doing the list. We already know you watching. We already know that you looking and you listening. We already know that anyway. So all you did was just inform us of what we had already known from the very beginning. Silly. 910, you're on the line. Who am I speaking to?
Hey, this is Gary. How you doing, ABL?
I'm well. About yourself?
Pretty good. I got a question. What do you think about the refugees coming to the United States? Do you think they're being used for like political bond, or do you think these politicians are being genuine?
I think what's happening is that it's a pawn for sure, and also they kind of got in this weird situation where they created the refugees unnecessarily. It wasn't a need to do this way. So now they don't know what to do. They're evacuating them. But evacuating them where? Where are they going to go? To Pakistan or somewhere? I mean, where are they going to go? So now they got to take them. Yeah. And then it's also a political thing. Look at us. We're the party of refugees, all this, that, and the third. We help people when they need to get helped. It's like you created a mess, brought a mop, and then you want to get credit for cleaning it up. It's like, you the one that spilled it, so this is your mess for cleaning it up. You don't deserve credit for just fixing your problem. But yeah, it's definitely a political thing more than anything else.
Yeah, I totally agree. Do you?
I'm right there with you.
Do you see us maybe having more conflict in that area, or do you think the Taliban might keep their word?
Well, I mean, we could have more conflict if we stay there. If we stay there, I mean, for sure. But The thing would be we have to actually leave. If we don't leave that area, then there's going to be more conflict. Yes, of course. But if we leave, then that won't be an issue.
Yeah, true. Well, that's all I wanted to say. Keep up the good work, ABL.
All right. Thank you for the call. Definitely appreciate you.
All right. Bye-bye.
Yeah, I mean, it could be more conflict, but it's up to us. Are we going to stay out there in that particular part of the world or not? So I don't know. This whole thing has just been a mess. It's pretty embarrassing, actually. But that's what you're going to get from it's been a bunch of embarrassments from the Biden administration. This is a normal thing that's been going on. All right. And the number to call is 434-658-1220. And I thank y'all for being here yet again. I definitely appreciate you. 860, you're on the line. Who am I speaking to?
Oh, wow, what a miracle. Hey, ABL, it's Sonia. How are you doing?
Hey, what's going on?
Oh, I am so angry and so upset and so annoyed and so irritated. Where do I begin?
Well, pick one.
Yeah. That last caller, I think he was talking about Nancy's party, you know, that sophisticated crowd. And before that, it was Obama and how they're doing it in our face. That's one of the things that I'm so mad about, because these people are so fake and phony and such actors that I'm a little surprised at how out there they are with all of this. And it gets to the point where it's not even about them being hypocrites. It's as if they want us to see them being hypocrites.
Right, exactly. They kind of like throw it in our faces.
Yeah, and the fact that they're politicians, you know, and people keep saying they work for us, they're public servants, but they're literally telling us what to do. I am shocked, and I cannot believe, if it's true, that even companies like Pfizer and the employees of the White House don't have to get vaccinated.
Yeah, I mean, you would think that'd be the first people to have the requirement, since they want to put it upon the American people. It's like, okay, you guys go for it. You guys do it then. And if they don't, then it tells you something right there. It's kind of a red flag.
And the thing is, you know, this has all been going little by little, little by little. So as we go, we keep seeing how it just keeps worsening. The fact that, you know, they complain about that motorcycle event, but then they have Lollapalooza. Obama has his party. Nancy has her fundraiser. If this was such a deadly thing, if it was so dangerous, yada, 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 we wouldn't have the open borders like other people have said. And the fact that, for the most part, life can go on so long as you take that jab and wear that mask. I mean, we wouldn't have any concerts of any kind. Nothing would be happening that's out of the necessary if this was so deadly.
That's right. Exactly. 100% correct.
And, you know, I've been so upset about the mask stuff, and I was so relieved because when those Fauci emails came out, I thought we were going to be done with him, and I thought he was going to be debunked and fired and who knows what else, or ridiculed out of there. But he's still out here giving advice. People are still following the mask rule. And now, you know, I don't know if they want to have kids vaccinated. And I'm at my wit's end, because I was thinking that this fall things were going to change and they were going to do away with that mask stuff. And unfortunately, they're still doing the social distancing. They're still doing the masks. And now I'm thinking that's the least of my worries, because it seems like they want to vaccinate the kids too.
Yeah, it's crazy. And I think that every state is different, because where I am, it's totally open. No masks, no distancing, no nothing. It's all good. You could do whatever you want. And, you know, it's unfortunate that some states still don't really understand what's going on. They want to try to attack us that are open, like Florida, Tennessee, et cetera, and say, oh, you guys, your numbers are spiking out of control. But I live here. It's not a problem. Everything is pretty much like normal.
Like the person from Florida who called and said exactly that. But what kills me is that, you know, we know that people are getting sick even though they got the vaccine. We know it doesn't stop the spread. We know that most of the cases are vaccinated people. Israel is a perfect example of that. Everybody should know, or at least doesn't have to do any major research to know that Pfizer has a horrible track record. And I'm thinking, who the hell thought that anybody was waiting for FDA approval when FDA is part of the government?
That's right. Exactly. And then the former FDA head is now on the board of Pfizer, and that happened in 2019. So just 2 years ago, almost to the day, back in July 2019, this guy left the FDA as the head of the FDA and went to Pfizer. And now, just a few months later, here he is with the first vaccine that's been approved by the FDA. So there's no friends or nothing that they talk to there and say, hey, man, can you fast track that for us? We really appreciate it. I mean, it's pretty obvious what's going on. They're putting it right in front of our face, but it's up to us to recognize it or not.
Yeah, and they all said also that they weren't going to take it if it was Trump, as if he was in the lab making the thing. It makes no sense.
That's right.
Anyway, that was my little vent. I'm glad I got through. I'll listen to this show. Have a good night.
Thank you for the call. Appreciate it.
Bye.
All right, great call from Sonia. Absolutely. Yeah, kids wearing masks. Kids wearing masks is the dumbest thing, because we know that kids don't die from this. Really, I've not. If you've seen a regular kid, when I say regular, I mean somebody that's not obviously medically, having a problem. Like if a kid is 9 years old and they already weigh 500 pounds, we got a problem. Or if they had some kind of debilitating disease already as a child, kids don't catch this and pass away. It's like sniffles, typical little nasty kid stuff, right? If the kids are going to the school wearing masks, they're going to get all types of schmutz and everything in there. It's going to be gross. You ever seen like kids' hands and stuff? The hands, they're going to be kids, right? When I was a kid, I was just doing whatever. Rolling around outside, playing with dirt, throwing dirt on you, making mud pies. Because we're kids, it's what we do. I don't care about ticks and roaches and ants and whatever getting on my hands. So how am I going to behave when it comes to a face mask? Even adults I see picking and flicking boogers in their mask. So how is a kid that's 7, 8 years old going to handle it? But I'm getting triggered. So again, I digress. 509, you're on the line. Who am I speaking to?
This is Lou.
All right, Lou, what's going on?
Not much. How you doing, ABL?
I'm well, can't complain.
Awesome. I can't believe I got on the line with you, man. Geez, you're a legend in my eyes, so thank you for everything you do. I appreciate everything.
Oh, no problem. Appreciate you.
Awesome. Yeah, I'm just calling because my son's over there in Afghanistan. He's in the 82nd Airborne. I'm worried. I'm nervous. I'm nervous for everyone, but I'm really nervous, because my son's over there. I'm just wondering, what do you think the end result's going to be? Do you think this will be the straw that breaks the camel's back on the Biden administration?
What, as far as Afghanistan being like the last straw?
Well, for his tenure in the White House, I'm just wondering, because in my gut tells me that some Americans are going to get killed in that. So I'm just wondering, do you think there's an impeachment in looming over the sky? You think he's going to? It seems like they're invincible. Like they get through all these scandals and things. But do you think he's going to be on the hook for this one? I'm just curious.
Well, I think that he'd be on the hook, but maybe not in the way of like going toward impeachment. I think this would happen. I think here's what I think. They're going to try to get him through midterms, but they'll continuously be chipping away as credibility. When I say they, I mean the establishment, left-wing media. They'll chip away constantly. And then when we get past the midterms, like almost immediately afterward, they'll do the 25th Amendment and say, okay, you're not fit for office. Like they'll have him pretty much just fall out on TV. They won't give him his shot or whatever he takes. And he'll fall out on TV, and then they'll just say, well, look, he's not suited to fit. Let's get him out of here. And then let's place Kamala in his place.
So you think that is like the end plan, is to get the person that no one likes? I'm just curious. Do you think their plan is even beyond her? Because I'm just like, this lady is unlikable. I'm like, she's just as much of a joke. I mean, she's a little bit more coherent, I think. Maybe a little bit more with it, but she's just as much of she's unliked. I mean, probably more than him. But I'm just wondering, do you think she's the end result, or is it past her? Because I have a feeling they're even looking past her because she's weak. She's weak.
Well, the reality is that nobody that they're going to put in there is actually going to be governing. They don't govern. They're just figureheads. I mean, whatever Biden says, whatever he does is given to him by someone else. Everything from the press conferences, he'll read from a sheet of paper. Okay, David Smith from NPR. There you go. He'll read a selected name, selected organization, pre-screened questions. They don't govern. Kamala Harris would be plug and play. Okay, you go in there, go out there, say a few words, stop cackling all the time. That'd be pretty much it. It doesn't matter if anyone likes her.
Yeah.
I mean, who is a big Joe Biden fan? Who has a poster of Joe Biden on their wall? Nobody. But he still got it in there, so it doesn't even really matter.
Well, I was just thinking maybe the end result is that Pelosi lady, but they say that she's on her way out. So I'm just going, what's the end result here? It's really scary. 3 more years of this guy, 3 more years of this lady, cackling lady, or 3 more years of that devil lady. It's just like,
I mean, all around, there's no good options here because who's on the left? Like, there's nobody over there that will actually, that can actually take the place that would be good. So there's no. And they know that, so they'll just put whoever they want in there and just have them do whatever they say.
Yeah, man. Yeah, I think you're right. My friend. Yeah. I'm just nervous. I'm really nervous these next few days. Like my son, my only son, and I just had a grandchild. He just had a son, my grandchild, and it's like, I don't know. It's weird to think to say, yeah, my son is surrounded around the Taliban. The Taliban's got my son surrounded, and basically, it's reality. It's like a boot kicking you in the face, man. Really, it is. It's scary. I'm scared, but I appreciate your opinion, and I appreciate even being on the line with you, man. It's an honor. It really is an honor. You and Brandon Tatum and Jericho Green. I love you guys. Thank you for what you do.
Well, thank you for the call, and prayers to your son. You know, he'll be home. Everything will be safe. So prayers out to your son for sure.
I appreciate that very much, man. You have a great night, and I'll talk to you soon.
All right. Thank you for the call.
Bye-bye.
Yeah. Shout out to the caller. That's rough. You know, prayers out to his son. Hopefully he gets back safe and everything will be just fine. You know, we got to get our troops back for sure. That has to be like, man, this whole thing was a dumpster fire of epic proportion. Anybody that gets lost in this, not his son, of course, but any Afghans or whatever, like the country being the way that it is, that's on Joe Biden's head exclusively, period. But let's get to some more here. The number to call, 434-658-1220. And let's go here. All right, let's do... All right, hold on. Let's go 667. You're on the line. Who am I speaking to?
Hey, ABL. It's Deshaun Jones. How you doing, bro?
Everything's good, man. About yourself?
Doing good, man. Doing good. I just wanted to say that was my tweet earlier that kind of went viral. That circle back lady saying global pandemic. I had to record. I had to record it, man, and I had to put it out there. It was the funniest thing, and it blew up. I didn't even think it was gonna blow up though.
I mean, that was a good catch, man. I heard it out of her mouth. Plandemic. It's like, you been watching ABL. What's going on? You got a plandemic hat. Like, what's happening? She said it right out of her own mouth. So that was an excellent catch, sir.
Yeah, man. Thanks. I appreciate it, man. It was just hilarious. I'm like, what did I just hear? And she said it with a straight face, and I'm like, what? Did she literally just? Like, was this a Freudian slip, or was she just saying the truth? You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So, anyway, man, I just wanted to call in and say that, yo, I love you, bro. Keep doing what you're doing. Stay blessed, bro. Have a good night.
Thank you for the call, man. Appreciate you. Hey, yeah, my man, he caught. I may have played that here, but Jen Psaki was on there, and they're trying to like squash that on Twitter. They're trying to not show it, but it's there. Jen Psaki was, doing the press conference, and she said global plandemic. Now, like you said, I don't know if that was a fraudulent slip or what, but I heard global plan, Plandemic, plandemic. It's like, really? The press secretary saying that? It's crazy. Maybe she didn't mean to, but hey, at a certain point, sometimes things you don't mean to say come out, and that's what you're really thinking. 314 on the line. Who am I speaking to?
This is Sean Murray.
All righty, what's going on?
Hey, man, how you doing?
I'm well, man. Can't complain.
Man, I love your content. I love watching you.
Oh, thank you, man.
Can't believe I'm on here.
It's all good, man. Glad to have you.
Yeah, I grew up around where you did in Virginia, out in Norfolk, out in Tallahassee and Hampton Boulevard.
Oh yeah, I know about that very well. Yeah, shout out to you. You know,
Yeah.
I lived in Portsmouth and Chesapeake, Virginia Beach. I live everywhere. I didn't live in Norfolk though, but I live pretty much everywhere else but Norfolk.
Man, that's awesome to talk to you. But anyways, we get to the point with what's going on here in the politics. It's crazy.
Yeah, it's a lot going on.
Like, oh, it is. It's with Joe Biden pulling out of Afghanistan like he did.
Right.
It's just unbelievable.
It's crazy.
But, it is. Just, you know, what goes back is like, so when we first doing the Gulf War and all that, you know, when they pulled out just right outside of going into Baghdad and all that, and they pulled out, you know, they were talking about even then, you know, our kids would be fighting these wars over there in the Middle East.
Right. Yep.
And here we are.
Here we are.
Still doing it.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, you know, it's just, it's an ongoing battle, and I'm glad to see we're leaving, but we didn't do it the right way.
Yeah. I mean, it could have been so simple. There was already a plan in place. It was already a deal. Signed, sealed, delivered. All you got to do was just execute. But it just scrapped the plan, did something else, and now we see what the problem is. And the same thing with what was that? The whole border crisis. Trump had a plan that was working. It was no crisis going on. Here they want to come and destroy it, and now we got a crisis. Crazy, unforced error.
Absolutely. And here's what's going to be the sad thing is that we're going to see in the future our kids, grandkids are probably going to be still, you know, dealing with the same issues over there in the future.
Right. Yeah.
They're not going to, you know, they're going to be with the Taliban, the way they're going to be pushing, doing that. Where, you know, there's going to be more involvement over there, and what you know, it goes back to it goes back to like even like you ever seen the movie The Kingdom?
No.
No. You know, it has to deal with like with America going in, and it has to deal with the oil and having their own spot over there in the Middle East. And Jamie Foxx was the guy that starred in that.
Okay.
And you know, it's just true to life. And what happens is that we set up shop over there, and you know, it comes down to money.
Right.
You know, but anyways, I'll let you go. I know you got other callers, you know, coming in, and you know, I'm a first time caller, but I've been loving watching you, Brandon Tatum, Jericho Green, the Hodge twins, and I love to see you guys, you know, you all on a panel together.
Yeah.
I got something going on tomorrow night, and I'm going to be watching that and be excited about it. And anyways, so y'all have a good night, and nice talking to you.
All right, thank you for the call, man. Appreciate it.
Absolutely. Have a good night.
All righty. Now, I found a clip of Jen Psaki. My man called a couple of calls ago and was saying that he posted the clip of Jen Psaki saying global pandemic. You be the judge. Tell me what you hear and report back.
Go ahead.
Thanks, Jen. I just wondered if you could give us a preview of the president's upcoming meeting with the Israeli Prime Minister, and if we can expect any announcements on the reopening of the Palestinian offices in Washington and the consulate in Jerusalem, and if not, what's the status of those projects?
Sure. I know we did a briefing call to provide a preview of that last night, or I believe yesterday at some point in time. I will say that the president's looking forward to welcoming the Prime Minister, who's already in town, as you know, having a variety of meetings today. We expect their conversation to be wide-ranging, to cover a range of topics of mutual interest, everything from COVID-19 and our efforts to address the global pandemic to regional.
Let's rewind to see if you heard what I may have heard.
Everything from COVID-19 and our efforts to address the global pandemic to regional security issues, which could include a range of topics, including topics of mutual interest, everything from COVID-19 and our efforts to address the global pandemic to...
You tell me. I mean, maybe she said pandemic, maybe she said something else. Y'all let me know. Y'all let me know. So shout out to my man again, Deshaun, for recording that. Hey, good ear, good eye. All right, we got a few more on the line to get to. Let's go 763 on the line. Who am I speaking to?
Hi, this is Aubrey from Brooklyn Center.
All righty, what's going on?
This is kind of old news, but I was just wondering if you guys have ever talked about how in Alberta, Canada, all COVID restrictions have been ended because a man named Philip King, found out or brought it to court that the COVID-19 virus has never been isolated in a laboratory, so thus proving that the pandemic and everything is based on nothing.
I've not seen that one.
Yeah, actually, and when I first heard that, I was like, no way, and I looked it up, and there were articles, out of Canada that, were just stating that the other territories or provinces were, condemning the Alberta Health Secretary or Minister for ending all COVID restrictions. But you should look it up, Philip King, and it's really interesting, and I think that's kind of like, I don't know, just what we need to be doing. And I've seen other scientists and doctors, like I've seen footage of them saying as well that the virus itself has never been isolated. I mean, that just kind of is, I guess, what we need to be doing is, trying to bring it to court, get them to, we have to, request, information and evidence of the virus being isolated, and they can't do it because it doesn't exist.
Okay.
So I was just, wondering if you knew about that. And also, if anybody is in the, Minnesota, Twin Cities area on Saturday at the Capitol at noon, there is going to be a medical freedom march to try to help stop the vaccine mandate. So, and just wanted to say thanks so much, ABL, for all you're doing. And my husband and I continue to watch you a lot, and you guys have a great night. Thanks. Bye.
Thanks for the call. Yeah, I've not heard that one. I got to look into it to see what's going on. For sure. Yeah, you guys let me know more about that if you know. Now let's go to 480. You're on the line. Who am I speaking to?
ABL. This is Chuck from Arizona. How's it going tonight?
Everything's great, man. How about yourself?
Doing pretty good. The lady who was just on was awesome. Can't wait to hear the rest of that. Everybody go to that march if you're down there. I was kind of be on the same path. It's like at this point, with the amount of information we've had come in with masks, with the vaccine, with pretty much everything going on, even with the vaccine or not, still 98% chance you're going to survive. So at this point, the narrative should be that we shouldn't be putting up with this anymore. And for children, I don't know if there's any networks out there or websites, or if you're able to create a website, but there should be like a nationwide homeschooling network, community-based. And if you don't feel comfortable giving your kid to someone down the street, set up a Zoom camera and every parent can check in, see what the hell your kid's doing inside this person's house. There should be a backlash, especially in the children's stance. But with everybody at this point, with the amount of information that's come out, it's like we need to start doing something different besides just saying, look at this. This doesn't make sense. This doesn't make sense. Well, at this point, we all pretty much have seen, they're lying to us. They aren't telling us the truth. It is a pandemic. They're even 40 and slipping themselves. And we need to start doing something different. And that's changing our actions and what we are doing on a daily basis and just not putting up with it. And starting outreach programs as far as schooling, community schooling, someone down the street being able to teach the neighborhood instead of, these school boards mandating that your kid cover up their face and never see a smile. That's just part of schooling there. So if you're not going to teach my kid and put him in an environment to where he grows not only through books but through experience, I don't want you around my child because it doesn't sound like you have the best interests in mind for him. So I don't have kids, but I have nieces and nephews, and it breaks my heart to see what's going on. Charlie Kirk just did an amazing speech in the state of Arizona where I'm at, and I encourage everyone to watch it. But we need to start changing our actions, and going and doing these rallies and changing our verbiage to this doesn't make sense to I'm not listening anymore because you don't make sense. You're insane. You clearly have a different plan in mind, and that plan doesn't have my best interest in heart. So I appreciate you. I appreciate everyone. But we got to start doing something different.
I agree with you. Right on, man. Thank you for your call.
Thank you. Bye.
All righty. Good call. Good call. I got time for one more. I'm at the very end. So I got time for one more. And let's go 720. You're on the line. Who am I speaking to?
ABL.
Yes.
Yes, sir. So I'm listening to you live right now. Calling out of Denver, Colorado.
All righty. What's going on?
This evening?
I'm great. Can't complain.
Yes, sir. So I listen to the podcast every Wednesday, Saturday, what have you. Let's see here. Didn't think I'd get through. So my grandma basically is this old Navajo lady, and she didn't have an education. She didn't go to school or anything like that. But I always remember her basically talking about being self-reliant, being independent, and kind of just, working, being, just self-independent, I guess, And I don't think she was ever political. She didn't know what a Democrat was or a Republican. But, growing up, I always remember those tenets. And it seems like, that's something I've always just kind of grasped throughout my years. And all these years later, I talked to my mom about it. I'm like, well, I think my grandma was Republican. If, when I think about what she was talking about, being self-reliant and making your own destiny, and just being a person that's kind of personal responsibility and stuff like that. So I'm just tuning in. Didn't think I'd get through. Figured I'd call in, and that's something I always wanted to share with the podcast, because there's a lot of us out there that are self-reliant and self-independent. So just wanted to get that out there and share that with you guys. So,
all right, well, thank you for the call. I appreciate you.
Yeah, no problem, man. Thank you.
All righty. And that will be a wrap for the calls tonight. Thank y'all for joining. Couldn't do it without you. Appreciate y'all for being here. I'll be back live again tomorrow night on Brandon Tatum's channel at 9:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. It'll be Brandon Tatum, myself, and 2 other guests. I can't think of them right now. Pardon me, y'all. I don't know everything all the time, but it'll be 2 other guests that you may or may not have seen before. So check us out 9:30 p.m. tomorrow night Eastern Time on Brandon Tatum's channel. Don't miss it. It's going to be great. I'll put a notice probably in the community tab on this site, and I'll also put it on my social media platform so you know that it's live. All right, we got super chats on deck. I'm gonna get to those, and before I get to it, shout out to all the moderators doing what you do, keeping them trolls in check. Thank you to everybody that has been watching, listening, retweeting, liking, whatever you can do to support. I appreciate you. Thank you. Well, we got super chats on deck. I'm gonna read those right quick, then I wrap it on up, put the bow square on top. Let's see. Where was I here? Okay. I think Jennifer Casey says Chameleon and the whole witch squad. I already read that one, but I'm reading it one more time. Chameleon and the whole witch squad are waiting for Biden to step down. They'll take over. Ian Kenny says, did you see the new UK hate crime police cars? They're talking about charging people for social media comments. New cars look legit like clown cars. Okay, let's check these out right quick. Let's Google this. UK hate crime police cars. Wow, what in the world? This is like something on, it's like a video game type thing. Hold on. This is hilarious. Wait a second. Let's get the picture on the screen. Let's get a real picture. Hold on. Let's not do this weird stuff. Okay. I mean, you're talking about something you see in Forza Horizon. All right, check it out. Really? Is that what we're doing, UK? Is that what's going on? What in the world? I mean, did you replace the red and blue lights with every color in the rainbow? Do you have I don't want to go too far. I don't want to get nobody offended, but this is ridiculous. I thought the license plate said Fab Queen. All right, I'm done. This is crazy. But yeah, these cars, I can't do nothing with that. Not at all. I'm not driving that. Sorry. I'm just not going to be able to do it. And there's more. Hold on. There's different cars. There's different designs. Okay, so here's another one. Really, UK? Is this how we're going to give it up? Clown cars is right. I expect about 45 Brits with teeth going every which direction, hopping out of that vehicle and doing some kind of show, some kind of song and dance, little jig or something. This is crazy. A station. All right. Y'all got it. Let's not. They're not going to win. If that was in the States, they're not going to win any kind of real awards for, handsome police cars, because that's not really it. All right, let's get back to the super chats. Shout out to Leopard Bulls, who says today at a press conference, Jen Psaki called it the plandemic. Yeah, look it up. I even saw it come up on closed captioning, plandemic, hilarious. So it came up on closed captioning, plandemic, hilarious. Joe Ryder 84 says, do you think that black folks will finally vote Republican due to not wanting to get vaccinated? No, not en masse, unfortunately. Because the problem is, here's the actual problem that some may not want to really just dive into. The actual problem is that the so-called educated black folks are the ones who vote mostly. And they're going to vote Democrat regardless because they're dumb for real, but they think that they're smart. They've been indoctrinated, not educated. So they can see all these bad things happening with this whole thing. They can see the fact that they are being marginalized because African Americans are the least vaccinated in the country. When you're talking about racial groups, it doesn't even really matter. They're not really going to see it that way. Some are going to wake up. I'm not going to say all, so don't get that twisted. Some are going to wake up, but it won't be en masse, unfortunately. I think the people who don't vote now are going to be the ones who tend to be more conservative. We got to get them voting. That's the problem. We got to just make voting be for everybody, not just for people that went to some random HBCU with a C average, which is the equivalent of getting a high school degree or less. But I don't want to go down that road right now, so I'm gonna go ahead and just digress. That gets to Boat versus Windshield, who says slavery in Oregon. Josephine County Sheriff raided a ranch in connection with a dead illegal immigrant. This is real. The cartels are here, running slave labor. Governor Brown is ignoring it. Look it up. Not surprised at all. Again, who's the people that were in favor of slavery? Who was against it? History repeating itself. Max says, where's Jesse Jackson? That's a good question. Where is he? Remember when Elijah Cummings, when he was having these problems and when he passed away, oh, civil rights icon, he died, all this and that and the third. Jesse Jackson and his wife, both fully vaccinated, both in the hospital with the virus. Have they been released? How are they doing? What's their status? I've not heard a peep from the media. Civil rights icon, right? Whatever happened to that? You would think that we would know a little bit about what's happening to him. I mean, think about if Obama was in the hospital right now with the virus. That's the equivalent of Jesse Jackson being in the hospital for a lot of people. We've not heard a word. It's crazy. Hopefully he's not suffering. Hopefully they went ahead and gave him that Z-Pack and the HC X, Y, and Z to go ahead and get better. But we'll move on. Thank you to Fred Cares for the donation with a thank you. Shout out to Joe Ryder 84 who says, would you have a celebration if Larry Elder wins? I think I may. I don't know. That's a good question. Bob versus Windshield says, if they said, if you take the vax, you'll never be bothered by the IRS again, here's your card, I get it then. That's hilarious. Jeff Donhauser says, we need these Black Hawks to fight wildfires here in the States. They're converted once deserviced. Instead, we gifted them to the Taliban. Impeach Biden. Bob versus Windshield says, so now what they're gonna do is load up a bunch of syringes with the vax and throw them into a hurricane. This will equally distribute to all the non-vax. Shout out to Laura Catherine who says, it's always funny when ABL gets triggered. Thanks for keeping that sane and keeping the hopes up. Shout out to the ABL community. Thank you for that. I appreciate that comment and that donation. Shout out to Bob versus Windshield who says, the Forest Service has many federal buildings. People are caught trespassing and vandalism. Is there a law that separates federal trespass? I don't know. That's a good question. Shout out to Claudette Roberts Richardson, pardon me, who says, have you heard of antibody-dependent enhancement? Possibly explain Jesse Jackson's recent predicament. Read the most recent Attorney General, I guess, article about the Pfizer debacle. Thank you to Love Live Surfer says, ABO, do you think it's wise to quit your job if you don't have anything lined up after you quit? My coworkers don't do their fair share and are whack. Well, it all depends, right? I mean, if you got kids and stuff like that, you really can't do that because if it's just you by yourself, you could do whatever you want. You could quit your job and not really worried about it because it's just you. But if you got kids, I mean, it's hard to do, right? Because they don't have a way to be able to take care of themselves. They're dependent upon you. So it all depends on your situation. Like if it was me some years ago and I'm just single man, no kids or whatever, I just, I do whatever because it's all I gotta answer to is me and that's it. But one thing I want to say is that some people say don't quit because if you are kind of being coerced to quit and you quit, you have less recourse than if you were to be fired. Put it to you like that. Just a legal thing, I would say. Hold on. Thank you to Bob versus Windshield who says, please, for those who went to, please join me in a silent prayer for the caller's son and all the good people in Afghanistan. Shout out to Charlotte Hemlock who says, Saki definitely said, plandemic. Wow. Thank you to Sonia Scrapbook who says, great show ABL. Message to all the parents who want to vent. Masking the kids is, burping. Masking the kids is child abuse. I'm here on YouTube and homeschooling. So yeah, you guys can follow her at Sonia's Scrapbook. Search her right now on the YouTubes. Check her out. And I'll put her name right here in the chat so you guys can easily search it. All the homeschool, all the moms and everybody, y'all check her out. Thank you to Angel who says, great show, ABL. Thank you for that. Definitely appreciate you, boss. Shout out to Matt, who says, please cover Canada. Respect to you, ABL. And thank you to the tactician musician who says, instead of the pandemic, I call it the dim panic. There you go. Good one. All right. That'll be a wrap for me. Thank y'all again for being here. And catch me again live tomorrow on Brandon Tatum's channel. And I'll be live again Saturday at 8 p.m. right here. And I'll be doing pre-recordeds all throughout the week as much as I can. If you guys have any topics, any suggestions, any leads, you can email me all the time at contact@anthonyblogan.com. My email is always in the description box. Well, pardon me, it's on my website at anthonyblogan.com, and the website's always in the description box. But that'll be a wrap. So until next time, y'all be safe. I'm out. And peace.